Let's wait for this to go live so we can actually get the show on the road. There we go. Sup, ladies and gentlemen, Ackle here, and welcome back to each one of you. And of course, if this is your first time watching over on YouTube, please remember to hit the like button, but also click the link in the description down below because it is always better when it's live, without fail. Tonight's actually pretty... I hate saying that it's a big night because it you know, is it a big night? Kind of mobile game being announced? You know, how big of a night can a mobile game actually be? I don't know. We'll see. To my mind, you know, I'm not a big mobile guy, so I don't know if I care all that much. But it depends, you know. Diablo Immortal was announced, and they eventually said that it's coming to PC. So if this is, I'm just throwing it out there, but if there is sort of an RTS hidden somewhere in there, maybe that is a big night. Maybe that is something that we can really look forward to, you know? I genuinely don't know. I don't know what the plans are at this point for Blizzard. Hold up, where are we right now with the uploads? Oof. Wait, how the fuck? We're at 100. And the last one I have uploaded here is 97. Well, that is super annoying. Alright, 97, which means I should upload 98 and 99. And then today is 100. So today doesn't matter all that much. Why do I have 2 MSQ past broadcasts? Lunari, how you doing? Oh, yeah, the stream interrupted itself. Oh, that makes sense. I know, Mephi, how you doing? All right, so we have 97. No. What in the actual fuck? Is there no 98? How's there no 98? Well, I guess we'll make this one 98 then. Screw it. We'll make this one 98. We'll make the other one 99, and then this one is 100. All right. Export. Mad Beastie, how you doing? Good year, waiting for my candy to be delivered. What candy are you getting? Pretty good, leveling my Sage to 90 right now. Lunari, congratulations. And enjoy it, I guess. I, of course, will not be... we won't be leveling tonight. We won't be playing FF14 tonight because my power is going out in 3 hours and... 45 minutes, so or give or take 15 minutes on either side. Lucidal, how you doing? Too bored, how you doing, brother? Hey, Echo, just so you finished the main MSQ. I haven't finished the main MSQ. What are you talking about? McDonough, how you doing, brother? Like, I'm not done with the main MSQ. I'm only done with Doma. I've freed Doma. I still have to free Alamigo. And whatever else comes in Stormblood still has to be done. I don't know if Alamigo is freed during the MSQ or if Alamigo is actually freed during the patch content. Critical Mass, how you doing, brother? Are you planning on doing a video about the Riot MMO, like what you do and don't want to see? Yes, I will be doing a video about that. It's currently on the, writing block. So that will be released at some point, and it will most likely be released over on the MMO channel, not on the main channel. But thanks for the first time chat, dude. Really happy to have you here. For Amigo, doing fine, drinking coffee and laying on the sofa. Nice, Lisa. Well, at least we know Blizzard still has a sense of humor, seeing they are going to do something with the Splinter Sword in Silithus. I don't know if that... I don't know if that qualifies as a sense of humor. I've given you my thoughts on the sword and why the sword really is annoying. Hold up, I have a key in my pocket from when I left earlier. Let me just quickly go put the key on the table, otherwise I'm gonna forget it. Give me 2 seconds. Sorry. All right, I'm back. Yeah, I do apologize about that, but I can't have things out of place. Everything has a place and it has to go to its place. Otherwise, when I want to leave the house again, I'm going to be like, where the fuck are my keys? And then it's here on this table. Well, so I mean, we've spoken about the Sword of Silithus to death now. The way Blizzard deals with their stories is just, it is so annoying. You know, leaving stories for weeks and months on end, years sometimes, before we get back to them. It's just, it breaks the immersion so much. I hate it. So I don't care that Steve Denuser told us that we will eventually deal with the sword and there is a story around the sword. Because the ultimate thing is, in real life, this is not what would happen. There wouldn't be, like, literally dead air around a sword sticking out of earth, and then just suddenly, 5 years later, now there's a story around it. There would be things happening around it consistently. I think the mobile game is going to be rebuilding Teldrassil. What? How would the... So, you think Blizzard would announce an RTS-esque kind of game that simply is you rebuilding Teldrassil? I doubt that. Ariani, I haven't watched it, but it is something that people asked me to react to, so we will react to it. But I have not watched it, no. People linked it to me yesterday, I think, saying I should react to it, so we will. But I have not reacted to it yet. JCP, how you doing, brother? Welcome to the channel. 3 months in a row. Thank you so much for that tier 1 sub, dude. Thank you. Sorry, my mind seems to be fucking everywhere tonight. And I think it's the load shedding that was announced, you know, literally about half an hour ago. You know, I'm getting ready for the stream. I'm busy planning stuff out. And then I get this text message on my phone going, oh, by the way, load shedding starting in an hour and a half. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. You know, every single goddamn time, this country of mine is falling apart, man. And it is super annoying. Foul Smoke, did you not know that load shedding is starting? Oh shit, sad times for you. Because yes, it is. Cyrus, how you doing, brother? I mean, it's sad times if you didn't know it, because it is starting at 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock, we're going into load shedding stage 2. And it's probably going to ramp up, because we have load shedding stage 2 from tonight, 5 o'clock, until Monday morning at 5, when they switch it off. So it's going to be the whole weekend. Guaranteed, it's going to be stage 2, probably tonight. Then tomorrow we will get an email saying that more power generation had to go offline. So they're going to have to move it up to stage 4. So we'll probably have stage 4 until the weekend. And then most likely Saturday or Sunday, they'll announce that actually the power isn't returning to normal on Monday morning. The power is actually now only going to be returning to normal, say, Friday the next week. And then we'll probably stick with stage 4 until like next week, Wednesday, when they'll finally move it to like stage 2 again. And then next week, Friday, we'll have our power restored for about a month or so. It sucks to live in this country, live in the dark constantly. Yeah, well, that's the price we pay to live in this, I would say, beautiful country, but let's be real. It's not the only country that is beautiful in the world, and other countries actually have fucking electricity. So, you know. Digit, how you doing, brother? Fidget, how you doing? When is the Warcraft mobile cash grab? It's happening in about 3 hours. We literally, like, they can't mess up with this announcement, because I have an hour since it's starting at 7 p.m. my time. We have less than an hour, actually, because the power is going out at 8. Sometimes they switch the power off even earlier. So sometimes they can do it about 5 to 10 minutes early. So I have like 45 minutes that Blizzard needs to announce this fucking thing so we can react and talk about it. And then my power goes out. I have room here in Finland. Move here. Dudes. I can't move anywhere. I'm here. I'm staying. I'm currently looking into buying a house. So I'm actually looking to buy property. And then once I have property, I'll probably put up like maybe 1 Tesla battery for now, just so that I can run my PC and my router and stuff whilst load shedding is happening. The reason I haven't been able to do it up until now is because I'm renting, and putting shit up like that, you know, when you're renting is it's just a waste of fucking money. So yeah. I wish I could move. Do you have no electricity at all then? No light and anything whatsoever? So Lunari, when it's load shedding, specifically when we're talking about load shedding. So load shedding happens ever so often. The current worst case scenario is that we will have 100 days of load shedding this year. The best case scenario, I believe, is 44 days of load shedding. So load shedding, when it happens, you have a schedule. I'll give you a look at the schedule so you guys can see it. Here comes a push. All right, so this is what the app looks like. See there? That's the app. Yeah, so the app says national warning, stage 2 starts at 5. Cape Town warning, stage 1 starts at 5. Okay? And then if you click there, you get this sort of schedule, right? So here's the schedule. Now, the schedule says the stage that you're in and then what time you're going to be off for. So as you can see there, it really depends on the stage. So it can get really horrible if it's like stage 8. That is, what, 2 to 6:30, then 10 to 2:40, and then 6 to 10:30 again. That it'll be off. So we are currently stage 2, but because I live in Cape Town, we are on stage 1. So for today, the power is going out at 8, and then it's coming back online at 10:30. Game Face ZA, how you doing, brother? Everyone in South Africa uses this app. It is what it is. So you're in, like, your power goes out entirely for 2.5 hours, and then comes back online, and then someone else's power goes off again. So they basically drive through town and just switch off the power the whole time for different areas because the country doesn't have enough electricity for the whole country. But yeah, this is just how it goes, you know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't exactly know how, because the government doesn't seem to want to fix it. They don't seem to be in a fucking hurry. Lunari, it wasn't like this in the beginning. So in the beginning, so load shedding started in 2008 in South Africa. So since 2008, we've been dealing with this. Load shedding started, and in the beginning, it wasn't. So in the beginning, your power would just go out. No one knew what the schedules were. No one knew what was going on. You'd be sitting here fucking chilling, and then just suddenly, boom, power goes out, done. And then in time, the private, like the market developed things like this app, right? So a private company went, they made this app, and almost every South African is on this app. And yeah, in the beginning, it was like 5 hours at a time because they didn't have a stage system. They basically just have load shedding. So they would just switch you off and you'd be off for an indiscriminate amount of time before you get power again. Here, Fisherman's Friend, indeed. Otto Wilkinson's Sword, Von Berlin, Adidas. Those were all the 8 ads. Oh, shit. Did you? Maybe Bitcoin farms. Bitbrain. There's not a single company in the world that would set up a Bitcoin farm in South Africa. The electricity is way too expensive, and it's too intermittent. Most Bitcoin farms are in places with a lot of green energy, where the energy is cheaper, or a lot of nuclear energy, where the energy is cheapest, right? But like Bitcoin farms aren't going to set up in a country like mine. Parsing that are going around. JCP, which videos is that? Daish, how you doing, brother? I'm not sure which videos you're referring to. The only time I watch videos is on stream. So if you guys aren't suggesting it in content suggestions, I am most likely not watching it. I know Zepla's reaction on it. Glavian has as well. Oh, right. I don't know. Like, give me the, like, link it to me in content suggestions and we can watch it, you know? It got Warcraft mobile game hype? No. Anyways, I was saying earlier, actually, about Warcraft mobile. So the Warcraft mobile game almost guaranteed going to be, to my mind, something that allows them some kind of multiplayer. Because this is where most of the money on a cash shop is being made. When you have... so they said that the game is loosely tied to something like Clash of Clans. So it's similar to Clash of Clans. Which, to my mind, if I'm not mistaken, you have a town and then you upgrade the town and then you sort of conquer other towns. That's sort of the idea behind the game. And that's probably what this is going to be as well. Most likely, set on Azeroth, you can establish your town wherever you want on Azeroth, and you're fighting other people for Dominion of Azeroth. That's probably what the one game is going to be, at least. Iriani, literally, yeah, answering that. Evans, how you doing? CDJ, how you doing, brother? I've never played Clash of Clans, because remember, I don't play mobile games. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how good or how bad it would be. I started playing, so for those of you that might be interested in my personal play career, I started playing Skyrim for the first time last night. Very first time in my life that I'm playing Skyrim. Clash of Clans sucks, in my opinion. Isn't Clash of Clans the game where you can upgrade things, but then eventually the upgrades take like months to actually complete, and you actually have to pay in order to upgrade faster? I'm pretty sure that's how the game model works, right? Yeah. Parallax, how you doing, brother? No, vanilla Skyrim. I wouldn't know which mods to fucking install. So Skyrim is such a great game. It's not Morrowind, but it's close. I don't... Like... I'm not a huge fan of Skyrim, gonna be honest with you. I hate the first-person element to it. The third person is horrible. It plays so bad. So you kind of have to be in first person. I've gone the mage build, but right now that's very weak. You know, I have shock and I have flame, and I'm basically the whole time. So it feels like it's the kind of game where you go magic until you're then you quickly switch, you hit tab, go items, get a blade, then hit until you get your mana back, and then go, you know, pew again with your magic. The switching mechanic is horrible. The fact that it does not have weapon loadouts, so you can't just switch quickly between weapons and stuff like that, really fucking horrible. And it just, I don't know. It feels like a game that is way too hyped for what it actually allows people to do. Even considering when it launched. How old is Skyrim right now? Good visual mods that improve the textures and such. Shadow and lighting. I will probably mod it a little bit. Release was 2011. So what other games do we know that released around 2011 as well? Witcher is 6 years old. But in game terms, that is like brand new compared to Skyrim. I can see why people would say compared to like the games of the time, Skyrim was fantastic. And considering what it looks like now, even though it is a game from 2011, it still looks fucking fantastic. Even at base, like even at vanilla level, it still looks really good. It is aged, obviously. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like it isn't aged. Yeah, I have to say, not bad. Dark Souls, Battlefield 3. All right. So do you think Rathian will, sir, come with me, the same fate as his father, or go insane due to the old god influence and turn against the other aspects? Mad Beastie, I don't know, is literally the answer I have right now, because we don't know to what extent the old god corruption still exists. There's also a lot that I've learned about the dragons, because I'm busy writing a script right now about the Dragon Isles and the dragons. So I've been doing a lot of research on dragons. Stuff that's sort of lesser known about the Dragonflights. And there's so much that we don't know yet about, like, people just either don't know or have forgotten it. So a good example of this would be the dragon aspects. When they were blessed by the Titans, what exactly did those blessings entail? Does anyone know? Rathian would not ever be able to control an old god. As far as we know, it is impossible for mortal races, dragons included, even though they're not mortal, but for mortal races to control the old gods. They are way too powerful. They won't be. If the Titans couldn't control the old gods, a dragon isn't gonna. Come? Vijay, what do you mean come? Sneak, illusion magic, and a dagger. If Rathian is controlled by Zaval, I mean, I don't think so. Zaval's dead now, right? One of them was immortality. Well, actually, the gifts of the Titans. So, you know, you had Amanthul, who blessed the Bronze Dragonflight and Nosdormu with power over time. You had Kaskurath, who blessed the Black Dragonflight and Nalfarian specifically. You had Norganon, who blessed, I believe it was Norganon, who blessed the Blue Dragonflight. And then you had Aeonor, that blessed both the Green and the Red Dragonflight. Now, those blessings were also curses. They weren't just blessings. So it is actually stated that Deathwing, after becoming, or Nalfarian, after becoming the aspect, the Earth Warder, could feel the weight of every single rock on Azeroth pushing down on him. So much so that it splintered and split his flesh. The weight of Azeroth pushing onto him. Like, that was the curse that came with the blessing. Fainshare the Orc, thank you for the tier 1 update. Really appreciate that. 3 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good morning to you as well. So, it doesn't actually go into detail about what the other Dragonflights had to endure as a result of this. But if Deathwing felt that, then you can bet that every single one of the dragon aspects have this blessing, but also a curse aspect to it. So as much as, because that very blessing that Deathwing had, you know, the fact that he had the power of Azeroth was his curse. The rocks pushing down him and literally splintering and splitting his flesh. But then he had the power of Azeroth as a result of it, right? So he could literally command Azeroth against his foes. Literally the planet, not the Titan within it. As far as good would be not liking killing, honest question. Evans, no. It would be something different. So say, for example, with Alexstrasza, she would literally feel the life of every living creature on Azeroth, as well as the death of every creature. So when life is snubbed out of Azeroth, it causes her physical pain. You know, so because she can feel the life flicker out of every being in Azeroth. For Ysera and the commandment of the dream, it would probably be the torture of not being in the dream 24/7. So whenever Ysera isn't in the dream, she is tortured by the dream. And then for Malygos, it would probably be something like the arcane energy that he has dominion over also sears him. So, you know, all that power flowing through him is sort of a searing flame. That's sort of the thing. So it's not so much, it is, their power is also their greatest curse. well, Ysera was called the Dreamer, as she was almost constantly asleep, seeing everyone's dreams. That could be it, right? So rather than her just feeling that disconnect from it's that she literally lives everyone's dreams and nightmares as a result of her connection to the dream. Then there's also the bet that a lot of people didn't know or don't even talk about, and it is that after the Proto-Drakes helped Tyr to defeat Galakrond, who is considered to be the father of all dragons. So Galakrond, in many ways, is considered to be the first of all dragons. But after the 5 Dragonflights, or Proto-Drakes, helped Tyr defeat Galakrond, Tyr actually went to the other keepers and told them, hey, you know, can we bless these? Because they can actually, defend Azeroth. And Odin said no. This is why Odin eventually completely withdrew from his brothers and locked himself away. Because Odin did not agree that the Dragonflight should be blessed. Why? What was Odin against? More specifically, what happened as a result of this? You know, so there's a lot of like small little bits and pieces of speculation within the Dragonflight. We'd have to wait and see. Balti, I don't know if Rathian is going to be the Black Dragon aspect. He's too young. I can't see why they would give him that level of power. Pretty much every Black Dragon is spineless. They're a flight of Hivemind jerks. The biggest jerk gets to lead. That's the only reason Rathian gets to pull the shit he does. Take Priest, I wouldn't agree with that at all. What makes you say that the Black Dragons are spineless? What do you base that on? Papa Shango, how you doing, brother? I mean, there's a lot of interesting things about the dragons, and the video that I'm making is sort of about the Dragon Isles, but in order to understand the Dragon Isles, you have to understand the dragons. So that's why I'm doing so much research about the dragons right now. Watchwolf, how you doing? Adelia, how you doing? With the picture of 5 elemental Proto-Drake shown, do you think there will be a 5-headed Proto-Drake? I don't know. I don't think so, but there's a lot of sort of things that we can dive into. So all of the different colors of Proto-Drakes. You had the normal Proto-Drake, so this would be the red, the blue, the black, the bronze, and the green, right? So those were Proto-Drakes. But then you also had blue-green Proto-Drakes. You had silver Proto-Drakes. You had gold Proto-Drakes. You had copper Proto-Drakes. You had red-blue Proto-Drakes. You had a shit ton. It is a shit ton of Proto-Drakes with different colors. And considering that the Proto-Drakes are very closely related to the elemental planes, since this is where they were created, there's probably a lot that we're going to uncover in the Dragon Isle about the earliest Proto-Drakes. Because those Proto-Drakes were considered far too primitive and feral. They were sort of instinctive. They had very little intelligence. Why? What is it that caused this, you know? Zark, thanks for the first time chat. Did really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you. Have I seen the latest? No, but we will be watching it in a bit. Now, Farron is going mad. They did nothing. He screwed over the other aspects. They did nothing. He turned literally evil. They followed him into lunacy. The sort of behavior any other flight would have had a split over and done something about. Not the Black Dragonflight, no. Take Priest, I think you're very much underestimating the ability of the flights to control their aspect, because it is very much the other way around. If one of the aspects suddenly turns mental and evil, then yes, some of the Dragonflights can rise up and stop it. Some of them. But that's not how the old gods corrupted Nalfarian. They didn't corrupt Nalfarian suddenly. They did it slowly, whisper by whisper, slowly driving him into madness. By the time he was mad, His entire Dragonflight had been basically infected with the same madness. So very few of them, and by the way, this is true for all the Dragonflights. If you look at, for example, the Descent of Madness of Melagos, most of the blue dragons followed him. There were a handful that basically managed to resist his madness and ultimately stand up against him. And even then, it wasn't easy for them. It wasn't like, oh my god, let's just go. So the truth is, the aspect is connected to the flight as much as the flight is connected to the aspect. The old gods were incredibly careful with how they corrupted Deathwing. They made sure that it was a slow burn. It was a process that just over time, the entire flight became corrupted. So one or two dragons wasn't going to be able to ever stand up to Deathwing. This is why we see Ebonhorn, for example. Ebonhorn completely retreated because he knew he himself wouldn't be able to stand against Deathwing. Yeah, it's so. Of course, we don't know much about this because Blizzard have never actually given us answers to this. But the way I look at it, so from a speculation standpoint, when I look at the Dragonflight, the aspect is kind of the conduit of all power within the flight. The flights have power because of the aspect, but the aspect has power because of the flight. So it's kind of like a give and take. The more power the aspect gets, the more power the flight has. The more power the flight has, the more power the aspect has. So, but it is a connection. These Dragonflights are intricately connected to one another. If one feels pain, all of them can feel it. All of them know that there is problems. So they are connected in every way. So by corrupting the one at the top, you ultimately end up corrupting the entire flight. But you could probably do it the other way around as well. You could start by corrupting the flight, and the flight's corruption could then lead to the corruption of the aspect. Furian, thank you so much for the tier 2 sub, dude. Really appreciate that. 3 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do you think Ebonhorn will take over leadership of the Black Dragonflight from Rathian? Wildren, it is entirely possible. Ebonhorn is probably the one best situated to be the leader of the Black Dragonflight, but then you also have to understand Rathian is royalty. Technically, by the line of succession, Rathian must be the aspect. Now, again, not much is known about how this works, because technically speaking, even Ebonhorn is a child of Deathwing. But not all of the children of a flight is sort of children of the aspect, if that makes sense. So some of them are sort of lesser children, and then they have their stronger children, the ones that is closest to them. So it's a weird system. I don't know exactly how the royal bloodline is determined, but technically Rathian is the next in line. So we could see a civil war break out within the Black Dragonflight over who is going to be the leader. Or Rathian could be the bigger man or bigger dragon and actually just hand over power to Ebonhorn as a result of knowing that he can't actually, he can't stand, he can't be trusted. He's too young. Would be cool to see systems like corruption affect the talent tree as a soft borrow power system. You could do some stuff with that. Aren't there very few black dragons? Yes, there's almost no black dragons left. Now, from my understanding, dragons don't need to have sex in order to lay eggs. So technically, if a new aspect is chosen, that aspect could start laying eggs and basically repopulating the brood, as it were. And I think actually the other dragons in the flight can lay eggs as well. The only reason they've refused to. So the Black Dragonflight have refused to lay eggs. And the reason for it is the corruption. They can't know that their eggs will be safe. And you have your direct descendants of Deathwing, so we don't trust you, not mad. Maybe that's how. Because do we know from a lore perspective whether or not all dragons can lay eggs? Or is it only the aspect that lays eggs? Adelia, thank you so much for the 2 community subs. Really appreciate that. Hearts in chat, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for the gifted subs. Really appreciate it, Adelia. Do we know? Because I can't for the life of me remember. Granted, though, my knowledge of the dragon lore is very, very limited. They all get mates, I think. Yeah, but it depends. So, for example, in sort of ant colonies, it's only the queen that lays the eggs, right? No other ant will lay eggs. It's only the queen. The dragons and all females can lay eggs. Depends. Only the aspect and their mate can lay eggs. We'd have to look at this because I'm seeing multiple. Yeah, but Sinestra was laying corrupted eggs, no? Anexia was an aspect and she was laying eggs. Anexia would have been one of the children of Deathwing. So it is possible that Anexia could have laid, like, because she's royal blood, she could have done it, right? It could be that only the royals can lay eggs. So only those of the royal bloodline is allowed to lay eggs. So therefore, came first, though, the dragon or the egg? We don't know. We don't know. I think I remember a quest line in the Horde side where we help a female raid dragon and she sacrifices her eggs to protect Egg Rathian. Genuinely don't know. I don't even know what to start Googling to find that answer. Like, what exactly did we Google to find that fucking answer? If I'm talking logically it makes sense that all dragons can lay eggs, with the dragons being born of the royal bloodline. So in other words, the children of Deathwing himself. So this is where Deathwing slept with his concubine or with his mate. Those would be the royal bloodline, right? So they are born, they can take over. The other black dragons, so the other black dragons that find mates, can also lay eggs, but they are just part of the brood. So they're just part of the flight. They do not form part of the royal bloodline. That would probably be, like, that would be how I would see it. All dragons can lay eggs, and all of them have children, and that grows the brood, but only the aspect children can become aspects themselves eventually. Do you think there is aspect royal line? Well, we do know there's an aspect royal line because Rathian is literally the prince of the Black Dragonflight. Like, he is genuinely the prince. And in that sense, it could also, there could not be a civil war purely because Ebonhorn might not seek to challenge Rathian's rule. The aspects even matter anymore? I assume that while powerful, the aspects are now on a closer level to other dragons after Kata, right? The aspects have lost a lot of their power as a result of the Dragon Soul, but they're still powerful. Remember, they still have the blessings of the Titans. And I think those blessings are somewhere on the Dragon Isle. Smoothers, pretty much, although the green Dragonflight could just appoint a new aspect. So if I'm not mistaken, isn't Caligos the aspect of the blue Dragonflight right now? Or it can't be Meligos. Meligos we defeated in Wrath. And I think Caligos became the aspect of the blue Dragonflight. You see, so as long as the line is intact, as long as the royal line is intact, and the flight still exists, a new aspect can be chosen rather quickly. Because Keligos was chosen very quickly. Soon after the fall of Meligos, Keligos became the aspect of the blue Dragonflight. The green Dragonflight would probably choose Ysera's daughter. Can't remember her name now. But Ysera has a daughter that is already working on uniting the green Dragonflight and becoming the new aspect of the green Dragonflight. The problem with the black Dragonflight is there is no flight. There is effectively 3 fucking dragons that is black, and 3 dragons do not a flight make. So the black Dragonflight, the problem is that I think personally they lack the power to make Rathian the black dragon aspect. They don't. There's physically not enough power within their line to actually bestow that power upon the aspect to become the aspect. So this is why Rathian needs to go to the Dragon Isles to claim whatever power is on the Dragon Isles so as to restart the flight that way. Danmo, how you doing, brother? Couldn't the Titans come back and give the dragons more power? Technically they could, but I don't think they will. Well, the leaders with Black Dragonflight is in their dragon forms would be fucking awesome. Pretty much. Marithra. That's the one. Thank you, Andy. Yes. Marithra is poised to become the aspect of the blue Dragonflight. So it's very weird because, you see, these are a lot of questions that we've never received answers to. We only have fragments of what is the dragon aspect. What do their lines of succession look like? Where does their power come from? These are things that we only sort of know in speculation terms. We don't have any idea from a lore perspective. It's never been explained. That Ysera was weak as fuck. You had to save her in ICC, and then she just dies in Legion. Dorogo, you have to understand, she is the aspect of the dream. So her physical power might not be that strong, but she does have the power to end Azeroth in mere seconds if she wants to. Because remember, the dream is where life comes from on Azeroth. So her having control of the dream means that if she could shut the dream down, which means Azeroth's life would start dying. Get some good answers, and not real. Well, these wouldn't even be retcons. So if you wanted to do the lore of the earliest dragons, you wouldn't have to retcon shit. Because we don't know. Like, they could retcon like recent stuff that the dragons have done, sure. But like the 10,000 years ago, even longer, there's not much to retcon because there's not much there. If you look at the dragon history, it is sparse as fuck. It is very sparse. I'll quickly show you guys. All right, so we can go to Wowpedia here, yeah, and this is the history that we have of the dragon aspect. Considering they've been around literally almost since the beginning of history of Azeroth. Not the beginning of Azeroth, but the beginning of its history. So in the earliest times that we know about, they came about very shortly after that. Takimi, how you doing? So we have the name of the different aspects there. We have their background. Before they were dragons, the aspect of proto-drakes. Then it sort of discusses how they were created, the selection of it, who blessed who, their powers and duties, the dragon soul. So this comes into modern day stories. The dragon soul created by Meligos and Deathwing, ultimately stealing their power. The Hour of Twilight. This is literally why they were created, by the way. This is why. So Amunthul had a vision of the Hour of Twilight. The Dragonflights were literally created to stop the Hour of Twilight from ever happening. That is their entire purpose. It's not so much to keep Azeroth safe, even though they will keep Azeroth safe, but it is just this. They need to stop the Hour of Twilight from ever happening. And as you can see here, Battle for Azeroth, Dragonflight, Fate, Trivia, that's it. Of these creatures that's been around since the earliest history of Azeroth, this is all we know about them. So you can do so much with the Dragonflights without ever retconning a thing. Wildren, as far as we know, Ysera right now is tied to Ardenweald. So right now there is no chance for Ysera to come back unless the Winter Queen releases her. Because we do know that Ardenweald does release some beings that die there. The Loa is a good example of this. The Loa is released to come back to Azeroth. So the Winter Queen could release Ysera, but it might also be the Blizzard wants to move away from Ysera and start with some new dragons. Not sure where I read it, but after Nefarian died, all dragons lost a lot of their power and became infertile. Not sure about the infertile bit. So that I wouldn't know. But it's more... so in order to kill Deathwing, in order to basically wound him so that we could kill him, the aspects used a thing called the Dragon Soul. The Dragon Soul was literally meant to steal their power. So they funneled all of their power into the Dragon Soul, and then we shot the Dragon Soul into all of that power. We shot straight into Deathwing, basically bringing him low so that we could kill him. Yeah, that's the story of the Dragon Soul. But this is also why they lost their power, because they didn't just put a portion of their power into the Dragon Soul. They funneled all of their power into the Dragon Soul, and this has left them weakened. Now, at the time, it was believed that their power was gone, so they had basically spent all of their power. Now, it seems like Blizzard wants to play a different game with it. So, Blizzard never gave us answers at the time. They kept it vague for a reason. But it seems like the story now is more... It wasn't that they lost their power. It's that it left them depleted. And now, slowly over time, their power is returning. But it is taking a long time. And if left naturally, the Dragonflights would need thousands of years before they would have all of their power restored. And this is probably why they're going back to the Dragon Isles, because I believe the Titans didn't bless the aspects. I think the Titans blessed the sort of the fonts of power of the aspects on the Dragon Isles. So I believe there is a font of power for every single one of the Dragonflights on the Dragon Isles, and this is what the Titans blessed. So the Dragonflights are probably returning to the Dragon Isles to re-link themselves to the Dragon Isles so as to regain all of that power. Will make the dragons as strong as they were before. Spaghetti Factory, I do. Yes. I think that's why they're going back, is to get back that power that they had. Because... So, this is my working theory right now, and I'm still working on it, so by the time the video comes out, it's probably going to be very different. But my working theory right now is when the Dragon Isles were closed down, so when the Dragon Isles went to sleep, the connection between the Dragonflights and their fonts of power on the Dragon Isles were severed. And this was done for the sake of safety. The Dragon Isles are too important to leave undefended, and therefore it was hidden, it was shut down, no one could get there. So now that it's open again, the Dragonflights need to return in order to sort of tap into that power again and relink themselves to that power again. And this is probably why they've not been able to regenerate their power after storing it in the Dragon Soul, because they were cut off from the original source of their power. And this is why they're returning now. Looking forward to your massive rant to the new WoW mobile game. Why do you assume it's going to be a rant, King Julian? Do you think there are more hidden camouflage zones just hiding in plain sight in Azeroth, like the Dragon Isles? I don't even think the Dragon Isles is hiding in plain sight. If I'm correct about the Dragon Isles, and I think I am, the Dragon Isles is the single most important thing on Azeroth. By a mile. There's nothing more important than the Dragon Isles. For various reasons, but one of those reasons is its innate power. The power that resides on the Dragon Isles. Now, like I said, if I am correct, then this power... this power was too important to just leave it out in the open. So the Dragon Isles, because here's where things get murky. Why could the dragons not return to the Dragon Isles? Errol, by the way, thanks for the follow, dude. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Why could the dragons not just return to the Dragon Isles at whim? I mean, they knew where it was, and it was just clouds hiding it. They could fly through the clouds and get to the Dragon Isles. What is the problem? They grew up there. Of course they would know where the Dragon Isles is. Why did they need the beacon to be reignited for them to find their way home? And then more importantly, how were they there that quickly? How is it possible that they literally showed up within an instant on the Dragon Isles? I think the answer lies in the importance of the Dragon Isles. If I'm correct, and this is the place where the Titans literally blessed the fonts of power of the Dragonflight, and if I'm correct that this is where the ley lines come from on Azeroth, so I believe that all ley lines on Azeroth originate in the Dragon Isles, then it stands to reason that when the Tower of Tyr was disengaged, the Dragon Isles were sucked into almost like a portal dimension. A pocket dimension that is on Azeroth but also not on Azeroth. Thereby shielding it from Old God influence, shielding it from any influence. Because it is on Azeroth, but it isn't on Azeroth. This is why the dragons could never return home. This is why no being on the island could ever get off the island. Because the Dragon Isles weren't actually on Azeroth, not physically. And the reason I think this is, even a magical barrier would be susceptible to Old God corruption. And if it's true that the dragons really wanted to protect the Dragon Isles from Old God corruption, then this is most likely what they would have done. The Dragon Isles would not be completely off, like of Azeroth. Converge the ley lines, remove magic from mortals, but also to repower him to his ancient power. Balti, I didn't even remember that. That is a good point. Yeah. I said you would rant because I thought you said you hated mobile games. I do hate mobile games, but I could just not play it. I mean, I'm not going to rant because Blizzard comes up with mobile games. We knew that they were going to come up with mobile games long ago. Or a side quest like in Indiana Jones? When does the stream start? Watchwolf, what do you mean? You mean for the mobile? Because this stream already fucking started. What happened to the Dragon Isles during Black Empire on Azeroth before Sundering? Were they caught by Void Influence? No, they weren't caught by Void Influence, but the dragon aspects were there, so they could probably stop any corruption from taking place. It was after the Sundering, when they were needed on Azeroth, that they hid the Dragon Isles as an attempt to save it and keep it safe. So, yeah, I mean, the Sundering is what changed everything. Stone, how you doing, brother? Yeah, the mobile announcement is in 2 hours. 7 o'clock for me. It's now 5 o'clock for me. So almost 5. It's like 10 to 5. So in 2 hours from now, we'll find out what is this thing we call mobile in World of Warcraft. I can almost guarantee you now this is going to be one hell of a cash grab. Get your fucking wallets ready, ladies and gentlemen, because you are going to be spending. You are going to be fucking spending on this game. It depends what they announce, Shamanita, because according to inside sources, there is 2 mobile games in development right now for Blizzard Entertainment. Both in the Warcraft universe, but one is sort of Pokemon Go inspired, and the other one is Clash of Clans inspired. So these are the 2 games that is currently in the works at Blizzard Entertainment. Token, because of that hopium? No. That's not going to happen, Kamika. Blizzard will never remove the token. Ever. Right, that was cancelled, the Pokemon one. Thorberg. So, what's his name? He's a writer for Bloomberg. Dude, the guy is so well known for his exposés on the gaming industry. It's actually one of the few reporters I like. Can't remember his name now, but he has sources in every single gaming company on Earth. And his sources told him literally a few months ago that there are 2 games that they're working on. One is the Pokemon Go inspired one, and the other one is Clash of Clans. Schreier, that's the one. Jason Schreier. Thank you, Gibati. Jason Schreier. That's the guy. Okay, Akko, answer me this. If the Dragon Isles are on Azeroth, but not on Azeroth, and in a different dimension, then how come the dragons found it so easily... What do you mean? They knew exactly where it was, King Julian, but it's not where it is because it's still in its other dimension. As soon as the tower gets reactivated, it pops out of its dimension literally at the place where it was supposed to be in the first place. So that's how they got there so quickly. I know it's here. I just need to wait for it to appear. So that's actually the easiest thing ever. Come up with a new gotcha. When did he say this? Oh, he did correct himself, actually. Never mind. His original tweet... Sorry, thank you so much for fucking... Fincher, thank you so much for that. So, in his original tweets, he said there's 2 games in development right now. He then comes back and he says, can confirm this. The Warcraft Pokemon Go game, one of the 2 mentioned in my first tweet, was cancelled earlier this year. The other one will be revealed next week. So this is the one that is Clash of Clans inspired. FF 6.1? Is this your 100th stream? I thought they were numbered by MSQ. Either way, happy 100. Smoldering, how you doing, brother? No, they're literally numbered by number of streams, but it's my 100th stream after starting to stream like on a schedule religiously every single week. It's now my 100th stream. I mean, I think all in all, I've probably done a lot more of those streams, but this is 100. So you'll see every single day it goes up. Like tomorrow, it's going to be 101. The day after that, 102. We'll probably eventually get to 1,000, depending on how the streaming thing goes. But right now, you guys are all part of the 100th, like, serious stream that we're doing. So congratulations to each and one of you. Maybe they knew it's time for Awakening, so they came to the spot and waited for Beacon to open the Dragon Isles. Well, they could feel life returning to Azeroth much in the same way that the Dragon Isles could feel life returning, right? So it would be a thing of, as soon as they felt life return, they knew that the Dragon Isles would open up again, and so they made their way to where the Dragon Isles should be located. Black Mario, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Really appreciate that. 12 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 100th stream, nice. Feels appropriate. It's been a year. Happy to have you here, brother. Doing great, congrats. Smoldering, thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Yeah, it fucking seems just like the other day that I started numbering the streams. And to be fair, though, I literally started it because it was easier for me to keep track of the videos on YouTube. Because I upload all the VODs to YouTube. And it's so difficult to keep track of which VOD is supposed to go where, that I just started numbering the streams, because that way I can just go, right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just make them live in that order. King Julian, stop spamming the same message over and over again until I answer it, bro. It is annoying to myself. It's annoying to chat. Like, if I miss your message, it's fine, but don't just like spam it over and over again. And I saw your message. I decided not to answer it because you're basically either trying to be stupid on purpose or you haven't listened. It's not up in the sky somewhere. It's in literally a different fucking dimension. So it's nowhere on Azeroth, but it's also on Azeroth. I don't know what to tell you. What are you saying? It's up in the air somewhere. No, it's on Azeroth, but it's also not on Azeroth. That's what it is. So Lightspeed chat echo, can see it, bro. I can see everyone's messages. Like, sometimes I'll be in the middle of a conversation and you'll ask a question or something like that, and I'll miss it, and that's fine. If you have to ask it again, ask it again. But don't just spam it like 4, 5, 6 times until I have to answer it. It's fucking annoying. Further numbered as well. It makes the streams themselves easy to follow. Happy to hear that. Echoes in the sky, bro. I'm laughing so hard. Love you. Sugar Prince, how you doing, brother? I thought it was like Pandaria, just hidden. Seven Raven, I don't think it was just hidden, because then they would have been able to find it again. Like, the dragons know where the Dragon Isles is. How could they not find it? It has to be something different. Something else. Whatever that something else is, I don't know. Look, it's not outside the realms of possibility. For anyone that is sort of wondering and sort of going, actually, dude, why would that be? That's so convoluted. What are you talking about? Do you know that there's never been a single person that have been successful in sailing around Azeroth the other side? So basically take a boat and sail across the entirety of Azeroth to the dark side of Azeroth as well. Do you know that's never been done? Just never. Every single boat that has ever tried to sail across the dark side of Azeroth has never returned. They've never been able to get back. So there is even a chance that the world that we live on in Azeroth is in its own pocket dimension. As a way for the Titans to keep Azeroth safe, perhaps, they placed this entire thing in its own pocket dimension. Which means as soon as you leave the pocket dimension, you can't come back into it. So you're just basically sailing the seas forever and ever. So they basically have half of the world still to play with if they choose so. Yeah, they can, absolutely. They just made sure they can't come back until someone from inside opens it. Like you said, move to other dimension. Yeah. To be honest, Echo, I don't think the writers are putting enough thought and effort into the writing to think about it like that. Well, if they're not, they're doing it wrong. I'm wondering now that Whisper of Il'gynoth about Blind Queen and Scepter of Bones could be maybe connected to the Dragon Isles. It's almost definitely connected to the Dragon Isles. If I annoyed you, no, it's not. It's not you that annoyed me. It's just the spamming of it. It would be different if you have like a single sentence, King Julian, that you're spamming because I'm missing it. But you're writing a fucking paragraph and then you're just spamming it the whole time, hoping that I read the paragraph. And it's like, dude, I saw the paragraph. I'm either busy, still talking about something specific, or I'm not going to read the whole paragraph, you know? It's like a huge paragraph of things. But it's not like you don't have to. What the fuck are you doing apologizing, King Julian? We've spoken about this before. I don't want people to ever apologize for shit. Like, if I have a problem, I'll tell you. Please don't do that. And then, you know, that's it. If you want to continue doing it, continue doing it. I'm not going to act on it. It's just, you know, it is what it is. Sorry, I'm also busy doing a bit of scheduling here. Just because, well, I have forgotten to schedule the VODs for a while. Just need to schedule the VODs here. With the same concept as if you're on Earth, but you were just 1 minute out of sync in time, no one would be able to see you. You could say it's something to that effect. Something like that, probably. I could see that working. To be fair, though, guys, all of this is complete speculation, right? We don't know. Everything I'm saying here is like sucked out of my own fucking thumb. King Julian, how the hell are you sober right now? I don't remember you ever being sober during a stream, and now you're telling me you're sober? What's going on? Did alcohol really become that expensive? He's never sober during streams, and now he's sober. Inflation. Is that what's happening here? Tell that to myself every weekend. Wait, not a hobo stick? Why would I suck a hobo stick right now? Do you think we will see the infinite Dragonflight? Yeah, most likely. I mean, you're not going to have an expansion about dragons and not have the infinite Dragonflight, are you? Like, what would be the point and purpose of that? You can apologize. You said not to, so fuck it. Yeah, stop fucking apologizing, bitch. Hold up. I'm just uploading. This is the last one. Sorry, guys. Just scheduling this. I have to do these now because I'm not going to have power later. Not poor. I can afford it. I just don't drink every night. Fucking lies, you bitch. I hope we run into infinite dragons. He is sober from everything except alcohol. I apologize for apologizing. Sorry. My kingdom for a new Caverns of Time instance. Dude, I don't even want a Caverns of Time instance. Fuck a Caverns of Time instance. How about worlds being connected to the Caverns of Time? That's what I want to see. Like, actual worlds being connected to it. And that each one is a planet in the galaxy? Rory Ajame, are you trying to trigger me? Like, please stop saying shit like that. I fucking, this is the same thing as people going, Anduin is Arthas' son. It triggers me. How exactly can Diablo, StarCraft, and Warcraft be connected? There are certain things. So there are ways to connect the worlds together. But the only way to really connect the worlds together is through common tropes, right? We are using common story tropes in order to connect the world. But there's so much that we have to throw the fuck away for it to work. Like, so much has to disappear for Warcraft to eventually become StarCraft. And not even talk about the things that need to disappear for Diablo to fit into that universe somehow. So I'm sorry, but that triggers the fuck out of me when people say it. Trickstar, how you doing? Wafal, how you doing? Jaina is a Dreadlord, right, Akko? Yeah, sure. Jaina is a Dreadlord. I don't think I guess what triggers me isn't so much that people are sort of suggesting that it could be. It's then whenever I listen to a theory of how this is possible, right? So whenever I listen to people actually claiming that it could be, you listen to how they, on purpose, keep so much out of the lore. So they just ignore, like, huge parts of the story. Just ignore it, you know. Not going to focus on these things because those things destroy my theory. I'm instead just going to focus on the things that actually prove my theory. And I get triggered whenever that happens. Working some of the old classic dungeons in Dragonflight. Not that we know of, King Julian. Even though Anduin is not the son of Arthas, would be interesting if he was, because he would lose legal claim on Stormwind Crown, but gained on Lordaeron, so House of Nobles would promote Turalyon from Regent into King there. But why would Turalyon be the king of Stormwind? And he wouldn't necessarily lose the legal claim, because Varian still considered him to be his son. Sure, I was just a kid and play. I imagine that is a very good idea, but for now, or yes. But not now, or yes. Nightsoul, how you doing, brother? I believe Ian said it was not off the table, but they would need reworks for Mythic Plus if it were to happen. Okay, so are you talking about the reworks of old dungeons into Mythic Plus dungeons? Because yes, that is happening, but not classic dungeons. So their cutoff is sort of Mist of Pandaria. That's their cutoff right now. And yeah, if they are going to bring back the classic dungeons, we're probably going to see new classic dungeons. So it's the only thing that's going to be the same is the enemy types and the dungeon layout, but the rest of it will probably be completely different. Yeah, but Anduin is still a Ren through his mother. So if anything, if it were to turn out that Anduin is no longer the son of Varian, Anduin could unite the Kingdom of Lordaeron and the Kingdom of Stormwind. So he could unite that power if he wanted to. Omniaco and the political conflict in the Alliance? Yeah, but for that to happen, it would be far more easy. So an easier way to get that conflict between the light and the void is for Turalyon to claim Lordaeron. Lordaeron is the previous kingdom of light, right? Like Lordaeron worshipped the light. Turalyon could very easily look at Lordaeron and say, no, Lordaeron belongs to the Alliance and it belongs to the light. And this could lead to Anduin waging war against Turalyon, because remember, we are told that Kalia is going to play a huge part in the story around Lordaeron and the cleanup of Tirisfal Glades. Now, what happens if Kalia Menethil tries to claim Lordaeron for the Forsaken? Turalyon goes, fuck that. We put up with the Forsaken being in Lordaeron because it was a war that we didn't want at the time. But no, sorry, we're not going to allow you to re-establish here. And then Turalyon launches the armies of the light on Lordaeron, marching to reclaim the homeland. Anduin, wanting to keep the peace, then says to Turalyon, no, stop doing it. And Turalyon goes, fuck you, I am marching with the army of the light. And boom, you have your war within the Alliance. Why are you calling off work, Seven? It would be amazing. Lordaeron is the seat of power of the light on Azeroth. So Turalyon wanting that back makes sense to me. No, I don't know if it's going to be the next big thing. I can't answer that, Pringles. We would have to wait and see. I don't think... No. Blizzard is already sort of setting up for a while now the marriage between Anduin and Talia Fordragon. Was Stefan from Stormwind or Lordaeron? I think Stormwind. I don't know. I can't remember. WoW console, keep dreaming. Keep dreaming. I don't think WoW console is ever going to be a thing. I genuinely think you're hoping for something that's just never going to happen. World of Warcraft's ultra reliance on add-ons makes it something that will just not be conducive to the overall console experience. So unless Blizzard can fix their over-reliance on add-ons, WoW was just never coming to consoles. I've never understood this. Don't fucking ask me why Blizzard would not fix this. Because from a pure money perspective, World of Warcraft on console is a fucking gold mine. So I don't know why they decided not to do that. All right, let's watch. That Captain Grimm video that every single person is fucking asking me to react to. Considering, like, everyone wants to see this. All right, so this is Captain Grimm, the Shadowlands story in a nutshell. Now, we've watched Nobbles, the Shadowlands story in a nutshell before. It made sense. I made my own Shadowlands story in a nutshell. Let's see what Captain Grimm can come up with for the story of Shadowlands. These videos are usually very funny, so I'm looking forward to laughing about this.
It's finally time to wrap up your legacy.
Oh shit. Evil face.
Brilliant.
I love how it's like lawsuit on the table. Look at this. This is the news. Fuck. Went too fast. Look at that. Lawsuit, Civil Rights and Equal Pay Act complaint for injunction, and then you have the bribe money on top of it. All right, I've got it.
And it will be brilliant.
Oh damn! It seems the jailer is going around stealing the Covenant sigils. But surely you haven't hidden ours somewhere very obvious, like in the biggest tree in the area, which happens to be our Covenant headquarters, and inside the big glowing seed in its core, right? Don't be silly.
My queen! The jailer's forces have attacked us and stolen the sigil from the big glowing seed in the main Covenant tree!
Curses! The enemy is cunning.
Thank you for saving my life after the jailer dropped me from a 2-meter tall cliff.
Okay.
No! I promise you that I shall make him pay in the name of the Earth Mother and my father.
True.
Hey guys, I'm good now and here to help. I told you I'd never serve.
No! I will never trust that murderous maniac! She has slain countless of innocents in both the Horde and the Alliance! She's crazy as fuck and looked like she was enjoying herself, honestly! Let me have her head!
Jaina, please. She's good now. You have to understand that she was simply being manipulated.
Bullshit!
If you don't trust in her, then trust in me.
Oh, okay, Ufer. That makes sense. Oh yeah, it's okay. It's all in the past now. Ah, shucks, you guys.
Blade. My son. This blade does not belong to darkness. It was forged by valor. And also by honor.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! What are you doing here? What do you mean? He's basically my son as well. What is that
Oh my
supposed to mean?
God.
Just because you exchanged like 10 lines together? Well, that's more contact than I've ever had with Sourfang Jr.
What? Okay, look, this makes no sense.
I am his literal biological father, and he's wielding the sword which I passed on to him, in which resides my own soul. It makes sense for me to be here, but not for you. No, settle down, honey. You're ruining our son's moment.
Well, he already has a mother.
I'm sorry, Anduin. Your father and I are going for a rough patch.
Oh,
Walker, Do you recall the initial
Oh my God.
domination and its horrible powers?
Yes! Oh, and it was so awesome!
Well, now we shall reforge its broken pieces into a new headpiece, far greater and more amazing. Something that will help us in our fight against the
Oh
jailer.
my god, this will probably look even cooler than the first helmet!
Behold! Well, how about that?
Oh my God, dude, there's so many fucking, like, just disappointments in this fucking expansion. It is insane. Kararuka, thank you very much for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
I need a minute.
But Walker, we have
Shut
to.
up! I need a fucking minute! Fuck! Why do they keep doing this shit, man? Fuck! It looks like a fucking Burger King crowd! They can't keep getting away with this shit, bro! Why?
Bear witness, mortals, to eternity's end.
Dude, Zuval could have been such a cool villain. If they took everything about the book and actually put it in the game, Zuval could have gone down as one of the greatest villains in history, in the history of World of Warcraft. He had so much power and so much going for him, and they fucking ruined it. I'm still so peeved over this.
This is impossible! My master plan was perfect! It was so perfect, in fact, I even manipulated the WoW writing team to retcon the lore. But you are the fools here, for I was never the bad guy. After the Covenant leaders bullied me for being so lovable and caring, I decided to take everything into my own hands. And it's all because I loved you so much. I was simply trying to protect you all from... Find out in World of Warcraft's next expansion, coming to your local Battle.net shop soon. You thought I was bad? Just you wait, you losers.
Yep, pretty much.
And done. And that was pure genius.
Everything else burning in the fucking background.
Where am I?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. Everything else burning in the fucking background. Dude, it's sad. It is such a sad state of affairs to imagine that you could come up with an expansion that not only ruins the expansion for itself, like the expansion is just a terrible fucking expansion, but ends up ruining everything that came before it as well. That takes real talent. Not gonna lie, that takes real fucking talent. It's unheard of almost, and yet they've managed to do it. Like, at least with all other bad expansions in the past, they were just bad in and of themselves. You know, they didn't really ruin anything prior to them. Warlord to Draenor was just a bad expansion. The previous games were still brilliant. It was just Warlord to Draenor that really sucked. Battle for Azeroth even. It was bad. It was a horrible expansion, but it didn't really ruin anything else. People still loved Legion. People still loved Wrath of the Lich King and TBC and Classic and all the rest of it. And then comes Shadowlands, and, you know, from what can only be described as a step up from the badness that could be, this expansion manages to ruin itself, but then also ruin the entire story of World of Warcraft. I don't know how Denuzer did it, but it is uncanny. And people are saying that this wasn't him, and he deserves another chance. So we'll see what happens in Dragonflight. The worst part is, it could have been actually good. Dude, it could have been fucking amazing. Like I said during the video, the worst part of this is that they missed the brilliance by a slither. Everything was there. It had all of the ingredients to make for a pretty decent expansion. And it just, like, none of it was ever capitalized on. He should try to make the worst expansion ever, and he might make the perfect expansion. That would require the user to actually know why it's bad, right? So the user would have to know why Shadowlands sucked so much, and I don't think he knows that. Considering the fact that we have been complaining about the story being told over multiple media for how long now? How many years have we been complaining? Listen here, stop putting the story into the books as well as into the game because it's hard to follow. We can't follow the fucking story because we constantly have to read a bunch of books. And Blizzard have just continuously done that. I think Shadowlands is the worst example of that in the history of World of Warcraft. I don't think there's ever been an expansion where the need to read the book has ever been greater than in Shadowlands. Because nothing was done in Shadowlands. Like, not a single thing. No character development, no world development, no history, no explanation. Nothing was done in the expansion. The entirety, of the story was effectively told in the book, with the game simply providing the conclusions to each and every one of those stories. It's surreal, actually. The book is the story, and the game is simply a collection of highlights. This is the worst example of transmedia in the history of World of Warcraft, and to my mind, this proves that Blizzard still have not learned their lesson. They don't know why this sucks so much for players. In their mind, it's fine. So the next story is probably going to suffer for the same reasons. To watch lore videos and read books, I could get Skyrim and Oblivion by just playing them. I mean, it's great as a YouTuber. It's amazing, right? Because people have a need to watch my videos to actually understand the story. But as a YouTuber, it sucks because in Shadowlands, for the first time ever, I didn't even understand what was going on. Like, I could pretend like I was understanding, and a lot of people do that. You know, every once in a while I'll get a comment from someone going, clearly it was this, dude. And then it's just their own fucking headcanon that they're now providing as proof. But even the YouTubers were sort of at a loss for words, going, all right, I don't know what the story is. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, even Noble, dude, when Noble gives up on the story and sort of goes, well, that's enough of that, you know that this story is kind of fucked. I mean, Noble is literally the historian of World of Warcraft. He's the guy that everyone turns to when it comes to understanding the lore. And the guy that is supposed to understand the lore better than any of us is the same guy that's going, yeah, I don't want to tell you guys. I don't know, actually. I don't know what's going on here. It's all over the place and also nowhere at the same time. I guess we'll see, you know? I guess we'll fucking see. Black Dragonflight is redeemed. We will get Earth Black Draconian tanks. Maybe Oblivious. I'm not sure, Saven. It's sort of like, I can understand Blizzard's reason for not adding Drakthir tanks, if I'm honest. And I also think that a lot of players are looking at the problems of the game and thinking that more tanks will solve the problems of World of Warcraft. Which I think you guys are completely wrong about, by the way. I don't think more tanks will solve the problem, because people are arguing if there's more tanks, queue times will be lower because more people will be playing tank. That is not true. The reason most players in almost every MMO do not play tank is because tank is one of the most brutal roles in video games, because the success and failure of your group tends to literally rely on you. If you pull wrong, you wipe. If you don't pull enough, people complain. If you pull too many, people complain. Tank is that role that you have to be willing to take some level of responsibility if you're going to be a tank. So people aren't going to be a tank. So even if you added a tank spec to every single class in World of Warcraft, you'd still have tank queues because people would still not pick up tank. That's it. That's just how it goes. Now, if we're talking about hero classes, because remember, normal classes and hero classes isn't the same. And if we're talking about hero classes, the ultimate truth is this is the first time in World of Warcraft's history that a hero class is added that doesn't have that doesn't have a tanking spec and that actually has a range spec. We've never had a ranged hero class, and we've never had a healing hero class either. Because monks weren't a hero class. There are 3 hero classes in World of Warcraft: DK, Demon Hunter, and now Drakthir, or Evoker. And of all of those, this is the first time that we're getting a ranged DPS and a healer as a hero class. So I don't know why tanks are complaining so much, or people are complaining so much that, oh my god, why can't they be tanks? Because tank's effect is more difficult to perceive. True. I mean, the problem with being a tank is when you're doing your job correctly, no one knows about it. Like, no one's going to notice it. A tank is sort of like the UI equivalent. So how do you know when a UI is really well made? You don't notice it. It just does everything it needs to do. You don't complain. The only time you notice a UI in a video game is when the UI is broken. So when the UI is not doing something that it is actually supposed to be doing, that's when you notice, oh my god, this UI sucks. Tanks is very similar. If the tank is doing their job absolutely correctly, you barely notice them. Because the dungeon is flowing, the mobs are dying, everything is being tanked, everyone's happy. The only time you notice the tank is when they're fucking up. So when they're doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing. So yeah, it is possible that it's purely just the fantasy of being the hero is much harder to be when you're the tank. Players have a harder time. I have a friend who's playing WoW and FF14. She very much dislikes playing tank. She always plays DPS and main the healer. Tank is a responsibility and scary role for her. Well, it is, right? I would say healer to some extent as well, although healer isn't as directly... Like, you can still have a healer that is doing a decent enough job and get the shit done. Whereas with a tank, if they are just doing an okay job, it's still going to be a very rocky fucking ride, you know? Because people are still going to die, it's just not going to be wipes to some extent. So, yeah, I think people are just complaining for the sake of complaining. I did not mind the fact that Drakthir couldn't be tanks. I think Drakthir could be tanks, and I think you could make a really cool tank out of a Drakthir. But I didn't mind it. It wasn't like the ultimate, oh my fuck, what the hell kind of thing, you know? This comes, by the way, from a Warlock. I don't even play tanks. Well, I have tanks, but I play Warlock main. And from experience, you all look too much into it. Put your party on ignore and do your thing. That's the secret to tanking with randoms. Chaos Lance, but that's not what... Everyone doesn't do that. Not everyone is an antisocial fuckhead. Right? Like, I would love if Blizzard could add a ranged tank. I think it's high time that we get a ranged tank, but I don't see that ever happening. Sadly, I don't see that ever happening. Oh shit, there's another video here. Being dragon and tank in mere scales over your body. I mean, it would make sense, but it's not a big deal if they can't be tanks. Still waiting for Shaman tank spec. Hunter BM as tank would be great. Since Wrath, I only ever done guild runs while tanking, refuse to do pugs as a tank. I don't mind. I'm one of the few players that whenever I do play tank, I don't give a fuck tanking pugs and stuff. But that's just because I'm a decent enough player that I don't really care. You know, I don't imagine myself fucking up so much that I would wipe the group, especially normal heroic. And I would even tank Mythic Plus. It wouldn't be a problem because by that time I'd already know the dungeon. So it wouldn't bother me. But I can see why for a lot of people it would be an issue. Plus, I'm sort of very much like Chaos Lance there. If people QQ about me doing not my job according to them, I just go, fuck you. Go find your own tank then. And I just leave it. You know, I'm not too bothered by people complaining. All right, so we have another video from yesterday. I wanted to watch this yesterday already, and then I saw people actually wanted me to watch it in the content suggestion page. So we need to talk about pay to win. I'm going to be interested because I obviously have my own opinions about pay to win. I made a video about pay to win shortly after Lost Ark launched, speaking about pay to win. So I'd be very interested to know what Asmongold thinks about this and also what this is actually about, because I see the conversation sparking up about pay to win, and I'm not entirely sure why this is sparking up as much as it is now. So let's hear what Asmon has to say.
What's up, boys? Today I wanted to talk to you all about a very controversial topic, and that topic is pay to win. And we're going to be talking about it in the context of Western audiences and how pay to win has become more prevalent in Western games nowadays, and how the...
I feel like that's such an important, and I realize I'm literally pausing, 16 seconds into the video, but that is such an important distinction to make, and one that so many players do not make. You have two different audiences in the video game industry. You have the Eastern audience and the Western audience. What works for the Eastern audience absolutely does not work for the Western audience. But what's funny is how the Western game developers are taking cues from the Eastern game developers on how to develop their game for the Western audience. When time and time again, we actually see the Eastern audiences or game developers dial back their Eastern tendencies whenever they release games in the West. So Lost Ark, for example, are now working on reducing the amount of pay to win in their game because in the West, people aren't that fucking happy about it. Vagar, thank you for the Prime Sub, did really appreciate that. Welcome to the most degenerate chat on Twitch. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
The audience's reception to pay to win has changed over the years, why I think that is, and how we can use that as to plot some sort of a trajectory in the next 5 or 10 years of where these games are going to go. Now, pay to win for games in some degree or another has been around for the better part of 10 years, maybe even 10 years by this point. But I think that for the longest time, it's just been something that's existed in mobile games. It's been in, you know, Raid Shadow Legends and these other types of mobile games with these arbitrary gating systems like energy stuff, etc., right? And you would have to spend real money.
I remember Farmville. Do you guys remember Farmville back in the day? Like, way back. Farmville on Facebook. I remember shortly after the game launched, everyone was playing it. They launched this sort of pay-to-win system where, you know, you could pay for increased harvests, and you could pay for more tractors and shit like that in Farmville. So yeah, pretty much mobile games and then sort of browser games, I think, was really in the West where pay to win picked up and really took off.
Money to get these things. And I'm going to talk about how I think pay to win has managed to work its way into Western games, and how I think that audiences nowadays are actually more okay with it, much to the detriment of, I would say, an average gamer, and also I would say in a grander scheme, the customer in general, the audience, the market in general. I don't think this is a good thing. And so,
I mean, they call it sort of the frog in the pot example, or what's it called in English? the well, there's a word for it. Example is the word that you could use, but there's a different word for it. But it's sort of the frog in the pot, right? You put a frog into boiling water, it jumps out, it goes, fuck this. But you put it in cold water and you slowly start boiling it, it's just going to sit there and fucking boil. You know, it's just going to boil alongside the water until it's dead, because that's what it does. This is what the gaming audience have been doing. And it's always, it's interesting to map out how companies have overshot where the audience is. And you can sort of immediately figure this out when you look at the gaming industry. So for years now, companies like EA, companies like Activision Blizzard have had elements of pay to win in their video games, right? Usually in the form of cosmetics. So not really pay to win. You know, they would have cosmetics, and every once in a while there would be a cosmetic where, thanks to the cosmetic, it would actually provide some kind of player bonus. I remember this was long ago in League of Legends. They once had a skin of a champion, but the skin actually, I think, decreased the hitbox of the champion. It was an accident. It wasn't meant to happen, but it decreased the champion's hitbox. And as a result, the champion actually, like, that skin became almost like a power play. Now, they fixed it very quickly because people were immediately like, what the fuck? On one, you absolutely hit the character, and then on the other skin, you missed the character with the exact same shot. So fix this. You know, pay to win, usually in small terms like FIFA with their surprise mechanics and stuff like that. But over time, do you guys remember Battlefield 2? No, not Battlefield, Battlefront 2. Battlefront, I said at the time, was EA tasting the waters. They wanted to see, they were basically taking one for the team. EA was effectively going, all right, let's see how pay to win we can make our game before the audience lose their fucking minds. And they went full throttle. Like, they went just full ahead, dead ahead, as much pay to win as possible. You could get weapon upgrades in the loot crates. You could get armor upgrades. It was ridiculous, the kind of shit that you would get from the loot crates. And rightfully so, the audience rebelled. This gave EA sort of the next line that they're working towards. So people are okay with all cosmetics. No one gives a shit anymore. We used to not be okay with cosmetics, by the way. But now we are okay with cosmetics. Now we're going to see a slow sort of increase incrementally, moving more and more into pay to win until they can finally have full pay to win in their video games. Just 100% pay to win. No one questions it. We are moving there, by the way. We're getting there. I think within the next 10, 20 years, games will launch full pay to win and everyone will just be okay with it.
So I'd like to start off with looking at like what the context is behind what is pay to win. And I think the fact that pay to win has such a very, it doesn't really have a defined definition. You can't go into the dictionary and find one definition of pay to win and everybody agrees on it. So like, for example, you have games like World of Warcraft, who, in my opinion, I think this game's fucking pay to win as shit.
It is.
Like, I went over, I bought WoW tokens, and I bought Mythic Raid gear, and then I put it on my main character, and now I'm better in PvP. It's rated PvP. Like, I don't know, I feel like it's obviously pay to win, right? But there
True.
are people that think that it's not because you can farm that stuff with gold. There's also other people that think that pay to win only occurs whenever you're able to obtain something that is only obtainable by spending real money. So it's like, you know, there's a sword that's better than every other sword in the game.
I would say that would be the most egregious example of pay to win, is when there's things on the shop that literally can't be gotten any other way. So the only way to get this sword is by buying it off the cash shop. That would be the most egregious example of pay to win. But there's other ways of pay to win as well, as Asmongold just said there. If I give you the ability to get certain things much quicker than anyone else, that actually flows into pay for convenience, which is a form of pay to win. Because if I don't have the amount of time to farm, but I do have the money, I will still be the same gear as everyone else because, well, I could pay for those boosts. And ultimately, why is both wrong? So why is it wrong to have pay for convenience, and why is it wrong to have pay to win? It all boils down to the integrity of the game. You're ultimately ruining your own game's experience as a result of your pay for convenience or pay to win. Because if all I have to do is swipe my credit card in order to get plus 15 Mythic Plus for every single Mythic Plus in the game, it destroys the hard work of those people who didn't swipe their credit card. Because it's no longer such a high bar to entry, since anyone with a credit card can do it, and do it easily. You see what I'm saying? So you're basically devaluing your own game in order to make money.
Game, and the only other way you can get it is by spending real money. So, and then there's, on the other side of the spectrum, there's people that think that any cosmetic, even cosmetics reference and cosmetics are a fundamental of value in the game, and so adding value through cosmetics is adding value through giving people the win condition through having them. So what I'm saying is that pay to win has such a broad definition for so many different kinds of people.
True.
It's very hard for people to stand united against any sort of real feature of pay to win, because it's just so
people wouldn't stand united
so
even if we
amorphous.
could agree on
So,
what the fucking time is.
There's no official definition of it. I think that's really what I'm trying to say here. And I think this is
Or
one
very
reason
true.
why it started to happen, is that people who defend the games and people who are okay with these games can always find some point of difference and some other game that is popular that has some feature of pay to win as well. I think that whenever I was criticizing the Lost Ark pay to win features, people kept reminding me about World of Warcraft's pay to win features, and which I said, yes, you are very, very right about that too. But I think that
I hear this so fucking often. Like, I will make a criticism about World of Warcraft, and then some fucking asshole in the comment section will be like, but what about this game? It has it too. I'm like, yeah. You know, just cause other games are killing babies as well does not make WoW killing babies okay. That's not what the fuck are you saying? So you're allowed to kill babies because other people are killing babies? How about no one kills babies and everyone's fucking happy? It doesn't make sense. It's this sort of moral relativism bullshit where, well, you know, my game does it, but other games do it too, so it's okay. No, we should be fighting against all games doing it.
many cases people view it as a personal attack. And
Smoldering,
I think that
pretty much,
also,
yeah.
As especially MMO players, because let's be honest, okay? Talking about pay to win in an MMO, I mean, this is sacrilegious. This is anathema. This is blasphemy. This is like sacrificing a goat to Satan in the middle of a church. This is the last thing that you want to do.
That analogy.
And meanwhile, every single other game that comes out nowadays is somehow pay to win in one way or another. And why does this happen? I think that it happens because, and the turning point for this is it happens because the games, people play them and they enjoy playing the games. It is literally that fucking simple to me. And I think the best example of this is whenever pay to win really, I think, made a very big inroad into Western audiences, which is Genshin Impact. When a previously thought impenetrable
that
audience
game is
of
so pay to win
players or pay to win, non-pay to win players in the Western audiences, it's like, well, you could never sell a game like Genshin Impact over here, right? Nobody would ever buy it. Then it comes out, and this was off the heels of Breath of the Wild, which is very popular. People like that idea of open world exploration. The game was fluid, it played well, and I haven't really played it myself personally, but
No, I've never
seen
had
the
it.
way that it looks, and it does look visually appealing to a certain degree. And what ended up happening is you had millions of people spending millions of dollars.
Look, I think I can explain why so many fuckers are okay with the pay-to-win elements in Genshin Impact. Most people that play Genshin Impact would be your quintessential weeaboo, right? It's the person that really loves Asian culture and just wants to be Asian even though they're not Asian. So they want to play games the same way that the Asians do, which is, I want to swipe my credit card until it fucking catches fire. That's why people that play Genshin Impact are so okay with pay to win, because it brings them ever closer to that dream of being Asian. That's it. That is why. I've never played that game. I don't even know what Asmongold is talking about when he says the game looks visually appealing. To me, it looks just horrible. I don't like it at all. Nothing about Genshin Impact draws me at all. So I will definitely never be playing it.
On wishes here in America. Can you believe that? This is something that people thought would be impossible to do. And I would say 5 years before that, it would have never happened. But look, here it is, and it is happening. And I think that it's actually just as simple as people want a good game to play. And people will forgive and forget and make excuses for pay-to-win features because they are enjoying the game. And you can make all of the excuses and all of the rationalizations and everything else beyond it, but I think that it's actually just that simple. People
I think what it boils down to for me at its core. Now, can I ask, is there anyone in this chat that doesn't have an issue with pay to win? Like that really thinks that we're just blowing things out of proportion with the whole pay to win thing? Is there anyone in this chat that feels that way? Like, you feel like when we criticize World of Warcraft for its pay to win, we're being a little bit facetious because it's not really that big pay to win. I have no issues. I'm not gonna attack you. I just want to know if there's anyone in this chat that sort of thinks we're being a bit too critical. I'm glad to see that most people in my chat really fucking hate pay to win. So let me ask you, in case maybe there are some of you that really don't mind pay to win. I don't think pay to win is that bad. Okay, so let me ask you, what do you think, where do you think gaming companies will end with pay to win? Like, what do you think is the end goal for pay to win in video games? For these companies like EA, like Activision Blizzard, like Microsoft, what's the goal for them? When they sit down in their suits, you know, around the table, and they have women under the table giving them giving them head and shit, which would be the point that they go, all right, we've arrived, no problems. We can now just have this. This is fine. I'll tell you, the moment every single aspect of the game is monetizable. Because for these companies, once Blizzard have grown their income to, say, $4.4 billion per quarter. Right now it's like 2.2. Actually, last time was 1.7. But let's say they manage to double it to $4 billion per quarter. They're going to want to double it again. And then they're going to want to double it again. And they're going to want to double it again. Because for these companies, it's no longer about this is good enough. It's just the next step. So I can see if we just allow pay to win to play out, I can see it getting to a point where you buy the game for $60. You then get access to a single race in the game that is playable for the $60. That's it, though. If you want access to any of the other races, it's $5 a pop that unlocks one of the races, so $5 per race. You also only get access to some of the classes in the game. So maybe you get access to being a warrior, a mage, a rogue, and a hunter. All of the other classes is hidden behind a $5 price tag. You have to pay $5 in order to unlock it. You also only get your first mount for free as part of the game. You know, they really want you to get that mount. But the mount isn't given to you in the game. The mount is purchased from the cash shop with free credits that you're given by the game. So you complete a quest and boom, I get credits. Now I spend money on the cash shop in order to buy my mount. This hooks you. You've now used the cash shop. You're more likely to actually keep using the cash shop. From there on, every single mount is on the cash shop. Every single class is on the cash shop. Every single expansion is on the cash shop, and eventually we'll reach a point where you can only go to level 50, and then leveling slows down significantly. In order to get to level 60, you absolutely have to pay because you're never going to be able to grind it out in order to get to level 60. That's where games will end if you allow these companies to keep adding pay to win, because it will never be enough for them. And you can sit there and say, well, Akalon, when it gets there, I will complain. By that point, it's going to be too fucking late. It's going to be too late. And Spaghetti Factory, it has nothing to do with capitalism. It's corporatism, which is a whole different thing that I'm not going to get into. But capitalism requires a consumer that is actually well informed. The consumer has not been well informed for at least 2 decades because of a school system that doesn't inform the consumer about their responsibilities within a free market, which has now allowed for a corporate system. Corporatism does not take into account the customer. A corporatism system or a corporate system only takes into account profit, nothing else. It doesn't care about the happiness of the consumer because the consumer's happiness doesn't matter. Because ultimately they are protected. They're never going to lose their money, as most of these giant corporations are. If they go bankrupt, the government will bail them out. So it has nothing to do with capitalism. This is a corporatism issue, which is a whole different fucking system that every single capitalist and every single socialist have been warning about for years now. And here we are. We're in this system now. And these guys are just going to keep going until that is the future we're looking at.
Are enjoying playing the game, and it's just as simple of 2 columns, a positive and negative column, and there's more things in the positive.
Thorberg, the problem with you, the government should do more to protect the consumer. The government can't even do basic things well, and you want them to sort of protect the economy, something that most people don't understand. It is very difficult. This is why we have economists, because a small change on this end can lead to a fuck up down the road. And also, by the way, the government is to blame for the corporate system that we have. So you want the people who started this to be the ones to fix this? I don't know, at least where I live, when a building is on fire, we don't throw oil onto the building in order to put out the fire. Like, I don't go to the arsonist and go, excuse me, can you put out the fire that you just fucking set? So why would I go to the people that caused the fucking issue in the first place to solve the issue? Because they're just going to cause new fucking issues. I don't see how that is the answer. Oh shit, I have cancer. Let me go stand close to a nuclear bomb. That's going to help.
Column for them, and just so they keep playing the game. I think also what's happened, and this is a bit of a generational thing, and I think it's coming, the generational effect is coming from both directions. So the first direction is from younger people. You have somebody right now, like let's say you're 21 years old. Well, if you're 21 years old, the odds are like you've never really lived. I mean, if you're in America here, I mean, hopefully I would at least think, you probably never lived without the internet. You don't remember what the Stone Ages were like whenever you had to call your friends on the phone and their mom would answer, and then you'd ask to see if Timmy was home so you could go play at the park.
Back when you had a phone that sort of, you had to go all the way around with your ring phone to just fucking phone your friends. I remember those days. Although we never had a ring phone, my grandma had. We had those cool phones that you could carry anywhere you fucking wanted. You know, I remember when my dad brought home the first ever cordless phone that we owned, and I thought, God, this is the future. This is the future. We have a phone that isn't attached to anything. You can just walk around with it. What the fuck? And then mobile phones nowadays, it's like if you just have to have your phone on charge, you'll lose your shit because you feel restricted in your movements.
This is just not the way people do things anymore. And because of that, I think that many of those people don't necessarily understand exactly how much different it used to be whenever we were, like me, like people that are like, I'd say 30 and over. Whenever we were gamers and we were kids in the 90s, there was no real pay to win or anything like that. Pay to win is renting the same video game twice from Blockbuster. So you see an audience of people who have been brought up and conditioned in a way to be more accepting of these types of features because they've grown up with them. Whereas for people my...
Thorberg, you can't say in my world, you don't know what my world would look like. You are assuming what my world would look like. I haven't told you what my world would be. So your assumptions there doesn't mean shit. Because I can tell you now, your government's regulations is what led to these problems. America is the most overregulated society on earth, bar China. So why are your problems not solved? You have more regulations in any of your business sectors than any other country, bar China. And your problems are more numerous than most first world countries. So it's not a regulation issue.
My age, and
Yes,
I'm also
it
going
is,
to talk about people
Fulberg.
my age becoming more okay with it as well. But first thing I want to talk about the young people is that people my age, you know, we see this and we're like, man, like, why can't we just have another Super Mario World again? Why can't we just have let's have another Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time? Like, what is this shit, right? But you have a lot of people who they've grown up and this is all they've known is, you know, oh yeah, you buy this from the microtransactions. So you're establishing a culture, you're establishing a precedent.
Dangerous, thanks for doing something. Really appreciate that. 11 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, Thorberg, I'm going to ask you a question. Straightforward question that you can answer at your own time. When you've finally given your government all this power to regulate the market and fix it, what stops corruption? Your government now has all the power to basically regulate the fuck out of every company. What happens to those politicians that now would be willing to take a bribe in order to swing the regulations in the other side? How do you stop this? You've given the government those powers. They can now regulate the fuck out of whatever they want. Are we living in a world where politicians are the best and the brightest among us?
And for younger people, they don't have any other frame of reference, so that's just what they accept as being okay. And I think that growing up, and that's always been okay, and you know, that it is what it is. I think that's the way a lot of people see it. They've been conditioned to believe that. And then also, for older people, I think that it's literally this simple. And I think that for some people it is. Obviously, everybody is different, and you know, my ideas don't necessarily affect an individual, but this is kind of what I'm assuming. And I'm basing this off of my fundamental belief that people will always advocate in their self-interest. And
True.
what I think is that there were the guys that were raiding in high school and college in Burning Crusade, Classic WoW, Wrath of the Lich King. Well, guess what? Now they're balding, gray-bearded, 35-year-old men. 35-year-old men that are, you know, they've got a wife, a kids, and you know what? They've also got a pretty good software engineering job, and they're making over $100,000 a year.
Yep.
And the kids that are 15 and 17 now that are kicking their ass in the video game, it pisses them off. So I think it's just as simple as a lot of the guys that grew up playing video games. They don't really care too much about pay to win as much anymore because now they can afford to pay to win. So back in the day, they couldn't afford to pay to win. They didn't like it. Now people are older, they have the money, and you know what? Pay to win's not that bad. And I do know this is a very, very black pill take on it. This is a very, very, I don't know, nihilistic perspective to have. But I think that it's true. I really do. I see people say this stuff all the time, and you know, you can corroborate this with the amount of mobile game revenue that's being generated here in America.
You can only ever trust people to act in their own self-interest. Which, Thorberg, by the way, that is my argument against massive government. Because government employees are not exempt from this. They will also only ever act in their own self-interest. Now, what is the solution to this? I don't know. That's the genuine truth. I don't know. Because you can't have no government. That would be a fucking mess. But you can also not have big government as the US do, because that is a fucking mess. So what is the answer? Perhaps small government, very localized. So what if every single town had its own government, and that government made its own rules for that town, where the mayor has to live with the rules that they make, and therefore, if the mayor does pass sort of fucked up rules, the mayor will have to live with those fucked up rules that they're making. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe even smaller than like municipalities. Maybe you have to have governments for every single suburb in a town. And that is the ultimate government. And that suburb makes its rules. I don't know what the answer is. But I know that humans will only ever act in their own self-interest, government included. So this is why whenever you talk about any game, if I talk about the cash shop in Final Fantasy, every WoW Andy goes, yeah, fuck their cash shop. It's a horrible cash shop. And then in the same sentence, I can go, and World of Warcraft's cash shop, and those same WoW Andys will be like, oh my fuck, what are you saying, dude? The WoW cash shop isn't that bad. It isn't that bad. It's like, it's just a cash shop, and it's only 1 month every 6 months. What are you talking about? That's the problem with human beings. I will defend what I love, even if it's fucking egregious, and I will attack what I dislike. Mousepad, thank you for the tier. What's up? Did really appreciate that. 6 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Of course, you guys can always trust in me. Whenever you sub to me, I will waste your money. I will spend your money like a newly elected president on the eve of his re-election. I will fucking blow that shit. Yeah, I will not re-election, on the eve of his campaign for re-election. I will start every single program, no matter how fucking inefficient it is. That money is just going out, just fucking hookers, coke, parties every night, just fucking throwing it all away. Because why wouldn't I? So I promise you that this is my promise to you, the people. Your money is not safe with me. Expect nothing less. There we go. I like it.
Having every single soccer mom on the block playing Candy Crush and depositing tickets into that, depositing crystals.
I will
tokens,
try,
whatever
Fincher.
the fuck you use in that game, and they're spending money like these, like it's
Yeah, hot tubs too. Fuck
crack.
it.
I mean, like, just so you guys understand, last year, I think this is 2021. I could be wrong about the year, but I'm not wrong about the numbers. Mobile gaming revenue was more than console and PC gaming revenue combined. So these games.
There's a far more fucked up statistic than that. Because there's an argument to be made that mobile games don't even have to be pay to win to be bigger than PC and console combined. Everyone has a phone, not everyone has a PC or a console. So mobile games, just by pure numbers, have more players, and that literally will mean more money, right? But there's a far more troubling statistic. Take a guess, chat. How many video gamers actually purchase things from cash shops in video games? How prevalent do you think it is? Like, take a guess in a percentage form. What is the percentage of gamers that actually purchase things from cash shops? Throughout the entirety of the video game industry for for PC and console, it's less than 10%, between 5 and 8% of the entire player base that purchases off of cash shops. This research, I think it took them 4 years to actually do the research. They were given access to company data they under, of course, the promise that the individual company's data would not be published. It would just be used as it would be dumbed down to the entirety of the gaming industry as well as the percentage of gamers as a whole. It's 5 to 8% of gamers in all video games that actually spend money on the cash shop. Take a guess how much money you think these gaming companies make off of that 5 to 8% of players that actually buy items off of a cash shop. A third of their entire income comes from cash shop purchases. 5 to 8% of their players makes up a third of their total revenue. And you think these gaming companies won't try to push for more? Because the goal is to get from 8% to 16% or 20%. If it gets to 20%, that's more than half. 60, 70% of their income will then be completely tied to the cash shop. And it will be provided by 20% of the player base. And the problem is if it's only cosmetic, you're always going to be at that 5 to 8% player base because the vast majority of people don't really have the money to justify buying a cosmetic item, right? And so they're not going to spend that money to justify buying a cosmetic item. But when you start making it pay to win, then suddenly maybe there is another 10 or 15% of the player base that would justify the purchase so that they can get more powerful. So these guys have a vested interest to keep this truck going and actually to grow that base. A third of your entire income is made up of 5 to 8% of your entire player base. That is fucking humongous.
Are making bank. And this is the facts, okay? Let me ask you a question. If somebody offers you $100 or $120, which one are you going to take? I think most people are going to take $120. And I think the more that you depersonalize that decision by, extrapolating it to a group decision amongst people in general, the more that you have that $120 be the obvious option. So that's why I think that we're going to see a lot more pay-to-win games come out, because I think audiences have been softened up by the fact that they've grown up with features like this, and so this is either normalized for them, or you have people that are now older and have less time, and so they appreciate features like this because it allows them to keep up with people.
It's not even just that. It's not even just the fact that we've grown used to it. It's if everyone is doing it, where do you go to get away from it? If every single AAA video game is running massive cash shops, what game do you play? Like, every game has a cash shop. Even Assassin's Creed, which is an offline single-player game, had pay to win where you could spend money to buy better armors. Now, I do think that the gaming industry doesn't much like the indie gaming industry, because indie games are still what games are supposed to be. Most indie games, you spend your $20, $25 and that's it, you know? That's it. There's no cash shop. There's no bullshit. Every once in a while, you also come across these companies that, for example, From Software, CD Projekt Red, even though, yes, Cyberpunk was a terrible failure, there is no cash shop in that game. Well, it wasn't actually that big of a failure. It ultimately sold 18 million copies and it's still going. So CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk is actually doing well. But the game is a $60 price tag. There is no cash shop in Cyberpunk 2077. And since its launch, they've actually been doing multiple DLC or patches to fix the game, to add new things into the game, and the next DLC is coming, and that's going to be probably the same as The Witcher 3, which is going to be $40 to $50 for the DLC for Cyberpunk. So you still have a couple of companies that is sort of looking at it and going, right, we can make all the money we need to make from the $60 price tag. We don't need a cash shop. We hate the cash shop. Our players hate the cash shop, so who cares? Yeah. But for the most part, those companies are dying. Those companies are being pushed out by the AAA giants like Activision, like EA, like Ubisoft, that have effectively cornered the market. And their argument is, if all of us have cash shops and all of us are doing these pay-to-win things, players have no choice. They will just have to play it.
That they wouldn't be able to keep up with otherwise, because they just simply don't have, they have other life responsibilities.
Dangerous, such
nowadays,
good games.
And so they pay to win instead. And these are the people that talk about, oh, it's not pay to win, it's pay for convenience. It's like, bro, it's pay to win. But, I think it's important to call it what it is, but it's also important to see why people feel this way. And
drinking games from now on, there you go, Spaghetti Factory.
Happening. It's going to continue becoming more prevalent. And I think that, really, where is this going to go? Where are people going to go with this? I think that there's going to be even more social pressure to even engage in pay-to-win systems. Now, I only have a few real points of reference for this and data or information to back this up, but I do think that it's true, especially if you corroborate it with the, in general, social pressure to keeping up with the Joneses, keeping up with the latest social trends, making sure that you have an iPhone.
6X, thanks for doing something. Really appreciate that. 14 months in a row. Nice to see you streaming. My YouTube recommendation is filled by politics recently. Why are you watching so many political videos, bro? till the BS happened, yeah, Overwatch was a good idea, but now you have Overwatch 2, which is effectively not Overwatch 2, but, you know, anyway.
On 6, because anybody that has an iPhone 5 nowadays is fucking poor. So what I've seen a lot of times, like remember back in Fortnite, kids would bully other kids for not having microtransaction skins in Fortnite. And I think this is going to become even more prevalent and even more common among a larger audience, because
Dangerous, what do you mean? Did Asmongold steal my thank you, thank you, thank you? I stole my thank you, thank you, thank you without even realizing that I stole it. So I watch a lot of I'm a Cutie Pie. I don't know if you guys know who that is. But I watch a lot of I'm a Cutie Pie. And I'm a Cutie Pie has this where he thanks people and then he goes, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I was just streaming and just did it without even recognizing or realizing that I'm doing it. And then the other day, I watched I'm a Cutie Pie again, like for the first time in a really long time. And I heard him go like, oh my God, thank you so much for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I was like, oh, that's where that came from. Like, I've never understood why I go thank you 3 times in a row, but it was because of the influence of I'm a Cutie Pie, because I watched him like religiously for such a long time. And it just stuck. So just one day I started going thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know why, but yeah, so I pretty much stole my thank you, thank you, thank you as well from I'm a Cutie Pie.
I already see this happen. If you guys ever see, go on Twitter, go on Reddit or something like that, and especially on Twitter, because Reddit's more of a crystallized or a more serious audience, and you're going to see, you know, like there's a new microtransaction that X or Y company, let's just assume Blizzard, let's assume Blizzard announces, I don't know, a new store mount, and you're going to see all of these people that, you know, they've got their profile picture of it and it's of their character, or it's fan art of their character, and their name is like, you know, Ashley Windrunner, and she simps for Sylvanas because she's actually crazy, you know, and, you know, this is the kind of person, and she's like, wow, this is so awesome, you know, I don't have a lot of money this month, but I think I'm gonna have to buy this. And it's like people make fun of the girl, and then she's like, well, guess what, I have the money, I'm not a broke bitch. And so people view it. And I think that you're going to see the introduction of this to happen more, is people are going to view status in video games as being able to afford certain types of microtransactions and having certain types of things in the game in general. And this has always been the case, but what's different this time is that that status is not derived from effort or time invested in the game. It's derived from money invested or money spent in the game. And I think this is already happening. You're already seeing this, and you have more and more people now that actually, it's weird. I think it's just so weird that people almost take pride in spending money on these types of things because they can do it. You know, they feel like they can, this is what they want to do with their money. And, you know, I mean, who am I to tell people what they can and can't do with their money, right? Do whatever the fuck you want. But I do think, I can still have an opinion on it. I think it's dumb. But, you know, that's what they do. And so...
My opinion isn't about you spending your money. Right? I don't, is he talking about half your Discord echo? Georgie, what do you mean? I don't mind where people spend their money. What I mind is when you spending your money starts forcing me to start spending mine. I don't care. If you want to swipe your fucking credit card on the biggest bunch of crap ever, that's your credit card. You do whatever the fuck you want with it, you know? If you want to pay some hobo to scratch your asshole, that's your choice. Like, I'm not going to stand in your way. But the problem is that you're paying the hobo to scratch my asshole, whether I want it or not. I'm very soon, I'm going to have to stand there and get my asshole scratched by a hobo because you're fucking deciding to spend your money in my video game and thereby making my video game more pay to win. That is my issue. Not where you spend your money. I couldn't give 2 fucks. Snort your money if you want to. Just don't force me to do it too.
I think this is going to become...
This hobo works hard, bro. Don't hate the hobo. The hobo works his fucking ass off.
More and more popular as, you know, those younger people who grew up with microtransactions and being conditioned to be okay with them. I think more of those people are going to be okay with it, and you're going to see those people getting older, and more of the Asmongols of these people.
Watchwolf, commissions is not the same thing. If you're doing art for people and you expect them to pay for your art, That's not even close to the same thing. It's your art. You have the right to charge people for it. I would be a complete hypocrite if I said artists have to work for free, because in many ways, me sitting here watching videos and talking to chat, I get paid for it as well. You know, so yeah, but again, you're the go-between connecting artists and people who want the art. I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. If the artists are okay with you playing that go-between and the customer is okay with you playing that go-between and both agree that you get certain X percentage cut, who gives a shit? I don't care about that because it's not the same as what we have here. It's not in any way shape or form the same thing, because artists can tell you, no, I don't want to use your services. You don't get to sell my art. And then that's it. You don't get to sell their art.
Either getting really good software engineering jobs and being able to just buy the stuff anyway and feel better than the kids that can't fucking buy it, or you're going to see them move on. And, you know, like I have friends of mine who, you know, they were really, really against pay to win and they fucking hated that shit. They played World of Warcraft back in the day. And now they're like a manager at like a big box store and they have a wife and 3 kids. And so they just don't fucking play video games at all anymore. So that's what I think is going to happen a lot, and those people are going to remove themselves from the population in general.
Yeah.
And so of video game players. So I think this is going to become more and more popular, and I'm very worried about this. And the reason why I'm worried about it, there's a lot of reasons why I'm worried about it. I think that, like, in a perfect world, I'd like to see, you know, some degree of like legislation to limit the types of behaviors and the types of things like this that games can offer you. In my opinion, this is kind of like what I think, and let's use Lost Ark as an example, is that I think that if Lost Ark, let's say because you know in Belgium and the Netherlands, you can't play Lost Ark because according to Belgium and the Netherlands rules and their laws, Lost Ark is an illegal game because it simulates gambling. Well, my opinion is that if Western games and Western audiences, I'm talking like Canada, America, Australia, and you know, even more European countries had similar laws that prevented you from playing.
More legislation isn't the answer to everything. That is not true. But we were talking about this last night, myself and the mods, after the Q&A stream. We were talking about the student debt crisis in the US and how Biden wants to forgive the student debt now. And my point there is similar to my point here. There's a number of things that I like about forgiving the student debt, and there's a number of things that I hate about forgiving the student debt. What I hate about forgiving the student debt is it's not as if that debt goes away. That debt will now just be paid by all of the taxpayers, whether you went to university or not. So you that got a job right out of school and started working, being a mechanic or whatever, you're going to get fucked in the ass by taxes the same way that the person who decided to take on a loan and go to university. But more importantly, it's not going to solve the problem. Because the problem in the US is the cost of going to school. If you finish your 4-year degree and you walk out of there with $400,000 in debt at 6 or 7% interest, what the fuck is going on? There is the actual value of the thing that you got and the price of the thing that you paid for it is no longer the same. So basically, you're going to forgive all of the student debt, and in 10 or 20 years, we're going to have to forgive the student debt again because it's literally just going to climb again. So the answer has to be some legislation, but also a change in what the fuck is going on. You have to figure out how do you get the prices of these universities to go down. So the hole is definitely too deep to just allow the free market to take care of it. You can't just allow the free market to take care of it. Now, with student loans, it's actually quite easy. Right now, banks can basically lend as much money as they want because all loans is guaranteed by the government. So what happens is, because the banks don't care how much money it costs to go to university, because if you can't pay it, the government will pay it. The universities can charge whatever the fuck they want because the banks will pay whatever the fuck they charge because the banks will get the money from the government if you can't pay it. It means that all prices just rise. So what you need is for the government to start saying to banks, listen, if you lend a student money and that student can't pay the loan, that's your fucking problem. You will lose that money because we're no longer bankrolling these loans. What happens then is the bank goes to the university and says, look, I'm not paying $400,000 for a four-year degree. Go fuck yourself. I'm willing to pay at most $100,000. So get your prices down, bitch. The university then goes, okay, fuck it. We have to lower our prices because clearly this isn't working. So we have to figure out how to get these prices down so that we can actually get students in the door, because otherwise we're going to run out of students because only the richest are going to be able to study. Right? So that's how you get it down. But that still doesn't take care of the $1.6 trillion debt that America has right now, and students that is literally under the burden of debt the moment they leave university. Even before they have a job, they have to start paying back debts. It's insane, right? So you need some legislation to take care of the debt problem, but then you need to solve the problem so that this isn't just a problem that we're going to deal with 10 years, 20 years down the line. The gaming industry is very similar. Yes, you can legislate to some extent, but how do we stop the problem from reoccurring in just a different way? Because the market is always going to find a way. The consumer is too stupid because we've stopped basically teaching consumers. So now what do? How do we fix it so that this takes care of the problem in the long term and it doesn't just end up being a new problem the whole fucking time? There has to be a way to fix it.
Playing games like this, the fact is that those games simply would not exist because Western and American audiences are just so massive that they would have to change the game and change the paradigm of how you pay money in order to appeal to making sure that those games were legally coherent and legally, they were following the law, right? And so I feel like
that is true.
I would love to see more legislation. And where do I really draw the line? Where do I think pay to win? Like, I don't like any pay to win. Pay to win sucks. Like, yeah, sure. I've done pay to win stuff in Lost Ark. Same with WoW. I usually do it for content.
New one.
And, just because it saves time, etc. And it's in the game. But I would prefer that none of this stuff existed. And where do I really see change happening? I see change happening on a legislation level. I see change happening on a actual, like, a forced level of, like, laws and things like this. Because I've said this many times, these companies, they will do whatever they can to make money, and people will always find a way to make an excuse for buying their products. People hate child labor, but they're still buying products from Apple. People hate, child labor again, they're still buying products from Nike. These things just keep happening.
True.
And they'll always find an excuse or a reason for it, and I don't think that you can really hold these companies accountable in any term of a boycott or in any term of a
boycotts
like
don't work, so that's
rights
definitely not an
activism
answer.
Group or anything like that. I think that the only way that it can ever be actually moderated and controlled is on a legislative level, because
Spaghetti, I don't necessarily agree with that. College is supposed to be, if you want to become an accountant, you go study to be an accountant. I actually think if we're going to talk about this, and I don't want to spend too much time on it, I think there's far too many degrees at university as it stands. I think there is a shit ton of degrees that can be completely removed from university and either move to a college of some kind. Now, when I'm talking about college, we're talking trade colleges, or just in-house training. So while you work, you get the training for the job that you want to do. Bob's your uncle. No fucking need for a college degree or a university degree whatsoever. But I also think there's a massive amount of degrees that is completely useless and should not be studied, at least not at a university level. But also, university should be for jobs, not just because, I have an interest, and this means I want to go to university. Because, again, you're going to end up with a lot of debt for no apparent reason, for people studying bullshit, people studying crap that isn't necessary.
I've tried everything else.
Fucking Dawn's theory and shit like that.
So where do I think that they should draw the line? Where should be the first line to draw? I think it's very simple. I think that you should not be able to buy loot boxes. I think that loot boxes that you spend money, if you ever spend money in a game and then that money goes towards something that is not necessarily a direct outcome. So like, for example, you buy a box and then the box has a randomized chance to have different items in it, like an Overwatch box, excuse me, and just a traditional loot box. I think that these should be illegal. I think that they simulate gambling, and I don't think that they have. I think not only do they simulate gambling, but these games are also they're made to appeal to children and young people. And I think that using advertising and marketing that appeals to young people and then trying to engage them into a video game that simulates gambling, how is this different from flavored cigarettes?
I have a very difficult time these days, specifically as it pertains to my own views. So, politically speaking, I am libertarian because I'm conservative in terms of economics. I think the economy should be more conservatively run, but I'm very social and liberal in terms of social issues. So I couldn't give two fucks what people do with their lives, right? So I'm not part of. I would never be part of the libertarian movement because they're bonkers as fuck and they believe all sorts of weird shit. But for the most part, I think politically I align most closely to the libertarian parties or the libertarian ideology. But I also know that to just allow the free market to do what the free market does leads to a lot of people being fucked in the ass. So that's not the answer. To have full government control, as the socialists or the communists want, is also not the answer, because that usually leads to a lot of people dead very quickly. So that's not the answer. So what is the answer? I don't know. There's every single way you think about it, the failure of every single system boils down to the same thing. Humans. No matter what system we come up with, humans is the point of failure in that system. Because you can have the most perfect system imaginable, and humans will find a way to fuck it up. Just 100%. Jonesy, how you doing, brother? So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to this. Legislation could work, but then you have to remember government does not ever cede control. Once it has control, it will not give it back. So the government could very easily start dictating the kind of games that we can play and the kind of games that they're going to allow, because once you give them the power to dictate what game companies can put into their games, it's not long before some Republican fucking senator from some state comes in and says, well, we have to remove all sex, blood, and gore from video games because that's satanic. And you can't really stop them because you did say that they have the right to decide what must be in a video game. They have that right. They're going to fucking use it. You bet your ass they're going to use it. Right? So what is the answer? I don't know, because whatever the answer is, humans will find a way to fuck it up.
How is this different? I don't know. I feel like it's somehow even worse. And I'm just so tired of seeing this shit. And I think that, yes, you're right. Everybody should, like, I don't necessarily, I'll be honest, this might sound like an asshole thing, but I don't necessarily feel sorry for these people whenever they make stupid decisions like spending money on these games.
Yeah, I
don't
feel
think
sorry
that
for
it
them
should
at all.
happen either way. It's like, it's stupid to leave your car unlocked with a brand new PS5 in it in a bad side of town, in the middle of an empty parking lot, and then you come back the next day, PS5 is gone. Yeah, I think you're dumb for doing that.
Yep.
But I still think the guy who stole it should go to jail. And the way that I feel about this is that I would love to see more legislation about this. I'd like to see at least one, right? Tech-savvy senator or some person in a legislative office that's able to
Tech-savvy
identify
senator
this and understand what the problem.
Where? Tech-savvy senator. Dude, these guys are fucking morons. Every single person that sits in the Senate is literally the stupidest people among us. And you're asking them to legislate this problem away? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to happen.
See how insidious it is. It's very worrying to see this happen, and I'm worried that it's going to get too far ahead of us, and we're going to have even more games that become even more parasitic, and these games implement more gambling features that are more unhealthy towards audiences. And I do think that unless it's actually regulated, I think that there is no way an individual consumer, you can choose to, and I completely respect the idea that, I'm not going to buy this or that game based off of this or that reason because you have a moral thing or you just don't like it. More power to you to do that. But I don't think that's going to change the market. And I think that games like Genshin Impact, games like Lost Ark, games like World of Warcraft that have these obvious features that are simulating gambling, I think these features and the prevalence and the success of these games serves as direct evidence that boycotts and personal abstaining from something personally is just simply not working. And I think that we need some sort of advocacy on a legislative level for this. And I hope that it happens before it's too late and before more people get taken down that road. But again, I think people are dumb. They should be accountable for themselves, and they shouldn't take those decisions to begin with. But at the end of the day, at a certain point, you do have to.
But Wolfson, how you doing, brother? That could be a good idea.
Definitely down that road, and I really hope that I hope more people can wake up and see that, and we can actually look and see what's really going wrong. And I think also,
in all fairness, that could actually be a good idea, because you do hear from a lot of these whales that ultimately end up stopping is whenever they start counting, like sort of counting up all of the money that they've spent on their game, and then they realize, Jesus, I've spent $40,000 on this game in the last year. That's usually the moment that people wake up and go, oh, wait, what the fuck am I doing? Because it's easy. Most games make it so easy for you to spend $5 or $10 here or there. And you think to yourself, well, it's just $5, it's just $10, who cares? But when you start adding all of it up, you very quickly start realizing, wait a second, I am spending an ungodly amount of money on this video game. So yeah, that could actually help. If you just, every single purchase you make, you have it large on the fucking login screen, exactly how much money you have spent in this game up until now. Of course, those gaming companies will fight tooth and nail to not have that in the game, because it will immediately cause a lot of people to walk away and just be like, nope, not going to spend any more. That's my money that I'm fucking throwing away.
If these things didn't exist and they were, for some reason illegal, I don't think that it's not like we wouldn't see video games anymore. We would just see better and more ethically designed video games. And it's not like these people would just close up shop. And if they did, and they can't make a game without simulating gambling, well, maybe that's probably for the best. So anyway, that's how I feel about pay to win. I think that it's going to become even more popular. I think that it's going to become even more prevalent. And I think the only thing that's going to slow it down is going to be actual legislation. I think that anything else besides that is just completely spitting in the wind. It will do literally nothing, and the people that enjoy it will laugh at you for being upset about it. So that's what I think, and I'd be really curious to hear what you guys think too. I know probably half the people at this point have already paused the video and have already written, holy shit, I think that's the government or one of these companies here to shut me down. A lot of you guys have already paused the video halfway through to give your 2 cents about this in the comments. But if you haven't already, please go ahead and do it. I'd like to read what people have to say and see what they think, because as I said, this is my interpretation of things after seeing them evolve and change, and I'd be curious to see what everybody else is.
Actually, so there's 2 very good opinions here in chat. Very good ideas, at least, in chat. The first is to show people exactly the amount of money that they have spent in the game up until that point. So up until current, how much money have they actually spent in the game? The second, Thorborg, I love that idea. Remove the ability for gaming companies to hide the true cost of something. Because look at every single one of these games. Like, most of those games don't have the dollar cost of the thing that you're buying. It's always broken into tokens or crystals or something like that. So 300 crystals for this thing. And then crystals have its own price. And the reason for it is When I'm looking at something and I'm going, 300 crystals, I'm no longer thinking in terms of dollar amounts. I'm thinking I have 1,000 crystals, I can buy this because I have 1,000 crystals. So you're breaking the sort of veil. You're breaking the reality of this thing costs actual money that I could be using on something else.
Is as well. So thank you all very much for watching. I really appreciate it. And what an ironic statement that this is going to be on the eve of tomorrow, which is going to be the release of the World of Warcraft mobile game. Oh boy. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.
I mean, the mobile game is going to be this is Blizzard's ticket to printing money as much as they fucking want. 100%. This is where Blizzard prints all of their money now. I don't know what the mobile game for Blizzard is going to look like. I don't know what this WoW game is going to look like yet, because obviously we still have about 25 minutes before it's announced. I can guarantee you right now that game is going to have at least potential for an incredible cash shop. Specifically if this is, so we know that the Pokemon Go game was cancelled. This means that it's probably the Clash of Clans one. Now, in that, you don't even need a massive cash shop. So you don't need a cash shop in terms of cosmetics or anything like that. What you need is the ability to buy faster upgrades. And then for an X amount of time, you get faster upgrades and things like that. And guaranteed in a mobile game, why do you think Blizzard developed this mobile game? For exactly this reason. To add a cash shop and to ensure that this thing starts fucking printing money, because that's what mobile games do. Mark my words, as soon as that game launches, take a look at Blizzard's income sheet. Activision Blizzard's income sheet is probably going to go from $1.7 to $2 billion a quarter to 2.5, 2.6, maybe even $3 billion per quarter, because I mean, Activision is also diving into the mobile gaming sphere. Blizzard is now taking a massive, massive leap into the mobile gaming sphere. So it is only going to get worse from here. I can very easily see Blizzard in 10 or 15 years from now effectively no longer releasing any PC or console games, and basically purely becoming a mobile gaming company because there's more money to be made there. I think the next mobile game that Blizzard is probably going to announce will be Overwatch Mobile, because they already have Call of Duty Mobile, Activision, so Overwatch Mobile would not be a stretch. StarCraft Mobile could probably be a thing in due time. So yeah, we're in for a fucking... we're in for a treat in terms of mobile gaming, dude. I would bet that it has a minimal pay to win for the first 6 months, 1 year, to get a great adoption rate, and then they slowly add it. Well, yeah, they're not just going to release the game as full-blown pay to win. It is probably going to release the same way as Diablo Immortal, where right now everything can be gotten in the game, and they don't really have to worry too much. Because remember, for Activision Blizzard, the reality is that they also have to make sure that their game launches in Europe. And if the game has too many pay-to-win elements, Europe might block the game. So they have to be quite careful with what exactly are they going to do in terms of the overarching monetization techniques of the game. But I am worried, to say the least, that this is the first of many mobile games. And yeah, Blizzard is going to... So if I were to cast a little bit of hopium... Now, this is not how companies work, but let's go a little bit hopium here. What if Blizzard started making a shit ton of mobile games and they were just printing money at this point, and they started to leave their PC games alone? They just started to go, okay, look, we're going to release our PC games just as games with the $60 price tag, we're not going to spend too much time on cash shops. We'll have cash shops with a little bit of cosmetics, but for the most part, we're not going to take too much time because we're actually going to make our money off of mobile games, and then these other games are just going to be sort of, the games that we used to make. Do you guys think that's at all possible? Or do you think I'm just very high on hopium? Is this just hopium over 9,000 at this point? So it's opium over 9,000. All right. I mean, yeah, most likely. Saddest day of my life, bro. Saddest day of my life that this is not what's happening and this is not what's gonna happen. Why remove an income when you can do it in different places? Well, maybe because the mobile gaming or the PC gaming industry, there's so much issues and kickback and bullshit around cash shops and PC games that they just decide, look, we don't want the bad press. We don't want the negative bullshit. We're just going to keep going with this.
I don't know why gambling is a problem at all. I am not against casinos either, because if someone is crazy and wants to abandon everything that they own, why is this a problem? And if this is not a problem, why is it a problem that someone throws money away with at least some negligible possibility to get money?
So it's not so much that gambling is a problem, it's how gambling is orchestrated. So casinos in the world is very heavily regulated. There's a lot of rules around casinos. There's a lot of things they can and can't do. And one of the biggest ones, and this is where I actually agree with legislation, it protects kids. Kids are not allowed in casinos. The problem with video games is more often than not, kids are allowed to play video games. And if you have gambling in video games, you now have the problem where kids are being introduced to gambling at an age when they shouldn't be, because they're not yet fully formed human beings with human brains. And so you literally increase the prevalence of things like gambling addictions and stuff like that. So that really is the biggest issue here, is you don't want gambling in video games, specifically where kids are going to be playing these video games. It becomes a problem when someone else's addiction begins to mess with your enjoyment of something. True. I remember how I grew on arcades, and that suddenly disappeared once it stopped being profitable. Companies could do money on both sides, but developed for arcades at a higher opportunity cost, and their resources are limited. True. Casinos are too predatory for some adults. Kids would be easy prey. Kids shouldn't even be allowed in voice channels. I mean, this is sort of the place where I would say it's up to parents. If I were a parent, I would not allow my kid to be on Discord. At least not until they were 15, 16, to say the least. Because, I mean, based on the things that have come out of shit that happens on Discord, your kid should not be on fucking Discord, dude. Discord is a fucking terrible place with terrible people in it. But again, this should be up to individual parents. Parents should be able to stop their kids from joining these places. I don't see how you're going to make that a government problem. Of the younger kids being so much more adults than the other adults in the call, at least not on our Discord. Yeah, your kid should not be on our Discord. Like, not because people will be predators towards them, but just because of the shit that gets discussed there. StarCraft Mobile, Hearthstone, Diablo Immortal mobile game, now a Warcraft mobile game, just Overwatch mobile game is missing. True, Digit. If my children were young, I would probably not have them on Discord other than the school channel. It's too crazy. You know, I got my first mobile phone when I was 18 years old, dude. I grew up my entire life not having a mobile phone. Mobile phones came out around when I was 14. And I got my first mobile phone when I was 18. My parents were just like, fuck you, you don't need a phone. Shut the fuck up. Right? And that was it. It was only once I turned 18 and I was off to college that my parents bought me a phone. because, you know, now I needed it for the first time. But yeah, I think kids today are just being like brought up in a world that they are not ready for. And yeah, it's probably not going to end well. Most things, the government's issue was 21. I got my first mobile. At 18, we still had pagers. Me too, but I'm old. I got my first mobile at 20. I got my first phone when I was over 40. Well, yeah, I'm older. I got a phone on first grade so I could contact my parents and stuff. Spaghetti, how old are you now? Like, you must be young, though. My kids don't have their own phones. They're too young. My mobile game was the Snake game. And oh my god, dude, the Snake game. I remember playing the shit out of that on my 3310. I'm 22 now. Yeah, I don't think parents should give their kids phones until they're 17, 18. The evidence is so well documented at the dangers and harm that mobile phones do to these kids. You know, social psychologists have been breaking this shit down, and it is devastating. I think I told you guys before about the experiment that they did. They went to a school, and they gave all the kids at school, these are younger kids, right? So I think they were like 13, 14, thereabouts. They give all the kids mobile phones to use. Within a very short period of time, all the boys were playing video games on their phones, sort of challenging each other to, you know, be the best at the video games and what. The girls, on the other hand, were on social media. They were posting pictures, and they marked a clear rise in depression for the girls. Because suddenly, I'm posting a picture, I'm not getting 100 likes, but my friend is posting a picture, and she is getting 100 likes. What's wrong with me? So we are effectively destroying not just young girls, because young boys have different things that they suffer from because of social media and mobile phones, but we are fucking wrecking young girls with mobile phones and social media. And yet you see the young girls walking around, you know, 12, 13, 14, mobile phones, Instagram accounts. This shit isn't going to end well. Paid a pocket computer on my phone. I begged for a phone for the entire summer before the school year, and yeah, I played the shit out of Snake. Culture is changing with social media. People get bullied and have personality issues. True. Anyone remember the Nokia 9000, the first with a communicator and keyboard? No, I don't remember that. And they grow up to Amber Heard. Dude, that Amber Heard, I've been following. It's sort of my guilty pleasure, following the trial of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Dude, that shit is fucking wild, man. It's like the wildest thing I've ever seen in my life. The Nokia 9000 was from the early 1990s. Yeah, I definitely didn't have that. Hilarious clown stuff. Dude, of course it's clown stuff. Like, in what universe do you get a lawyer that asks the question? The witness answers the question that was just asked, and then the lawyer that asks the question goes, "Objection, Your Honor, hearsay." It's like, bro, you can't object your own fucking question. You shouldn't have asked that question if you didn't want the answer to it. It's like so clown, bro. It's like watching it, it's just like, oh my god. Amber Heard should fire her attorneys. They are so stupid. Like, what the fuck? So yeah, I'm having the time of my life watching that shit. Oh my god. And the first internet provider and browsers appeared with the modern dial-up. Her lawyers are from Craigslist. Apparently that one lady lawyer from her is actually like one of the top attorneys in Virginia or some shit like that. Voromir, thanks for the Prime Sub. Really appreciate that. 4 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Get it right. It's Amber Turd. You can't find a good lawyer when you're guilty as shit. True, I do feel sorry for her lawyers because they are effectively trying to fight a battle that is just unwinnable. If you ask any person, do you think Amber Heard's accusations caused harm to Johnny Depp to Johnny Depp's career? Any honest person is going to go, yeah, of course. So how do you make the case that no, it didn't? Do we think Johnny Depp, like, personally, I think Johnny Depp is doing this to clear his own name. I don't think it's about the money. I don't think this dude needs the money. I think he's doing this so that in the court of public opinion, people will realize that he didn't do the things that he was accused of. So I do actually think that if this does end in a mistrial, Johnny Depp won't file again, because everyone has now seen this trial. Everyone has seen the mockery that is Amber Heard and her fucking legal case. So I don't think he even needs to win this anymore. He's already won it. It's already done what he wanted it to do. Stated this is 100% to show the truth, not for clout, not for money, and I believe him. Well, he doesn't need the money, but as an actor, your image is everything. If people think you're an abuser, no movie company is gonna fucking touch you, because it's dangerous shit. If they cost you, they're gonna get so much fucking hate. So now that his name is effectively already cleared, none of this matters. You know, like the money doesn't matter. He's going to get so many movie roles at the end of this. I guarantee you there's already movie roles lined up for him, bro. Because he's the talk of the town now. And this is when you want the actor to be in your movie, because everyone's going to want to watch the movie that Johnny Depp is in, because everyone just watched the trial that Johnny Depp was in. I mean, Amber Heard is done. I don't know how I don't think Amber Heard gets touched by a movie company at all, almost ever again. She has destroyed her own image with this. She's absolutely destroyed it. Because, first and foremost, she made a false accusation, almost destroying a man's life. That right there is already a big problem. But she's also, her false accusations have made light of people that actually suffer from domestic abuse. So women who actually suffer from their partners beating the fuck out of them on a daily basis, she's effectively, like, she's used their pain to get ahead, to make this about herself. So, be hired for Pirates of the Caribbean, since that's what he got cancelled from. Louis P., it's not just Pirates of the Caribbean. The Pirates of the Caribbean is the one that we can point to and say he lost it because of the accusations. But future films that has nothing to do with pirates will not hire him if they believe he is an actual abuser. She will have enough money to be comfortable for the rest of her life, and if not, then she can write a book or something. Dude, she's worth... How much is Amber Heard worth right now? I think it's something like $7 million. I think that's her total worth, is $7 million. If Johnny Depp wins this trial, the jury is most likely going to slap a couple of milli onto that bill, right? She's going to have to pay quite a few millions in terms of actual damages and then punitive damages. She's going to pay a fuck ton. And that could clean her out. So there's a good chance that Amber Heard ends up cleaning toilets at your local fucking supermarket at the end of this. The ones that's already in production would probably not be recasting him, but I mean, he could be cast for the 9th or the 10th fucking Pirates of the Caribbean, I guess. She made the poo-poo. Now she can clean the poo-poo. I mean, it's possible. And she's suing for $100 million. Yeah. This is a countersuit. So, yeah, effectively, they're going to decide both outcomes. You know, it is what it is. Live stream reveal. 4 minutes. 4 minutes, people. I need to go pee. So, let's see if I can do this in, well, it's like 4 minutes. So, yeah, go grab a drink if you need a drink, because it's starting now. All right. Come on, fuck. There we go. Back. Why are you giving me both, Alex? Oh, so we can see chat. All right. Thank you, Alex. I really appreciate that. No way, they put actual lore into this game, right? I don't play mobile games. I mean, maybe, but I would say don't bank on it. Because they could. Of course they fucking could. Do not put anything past Blizzard. Do not put anything past Blizzard Entertainment, ladies and gentlemen. Dude, I fucking hate whenever I go live during, like, knowing that load shedding is coming. I hate it. This load shedding announcement have ruined my day. I had so many plans for tonight's stream, you know. We were going to do so many fucking things and then just, never mind. You're not doing any of those things. You get to watch the mobile game reveal and then you go sit in darkness for 2.5 fucking hours. Beautiful. And so I wouldn't put it past them. Imagine this is... I imagine this is Steve Denuser's wet fucking dream. So Steve Denuser is going to take this game and he's going to use it the same way he does with the books in World of Warcraft. We're now going to get some of the lore in the new mobile game, some of the lore in World of Warcraft, and some of the lore in the book. And that's going to be the way we get the lore. So if you want to get all the lore, you have to pay $50 fucking dollars on the mobile game. You have to pay $60 for the game as well as $15 a month to play the game. And then you also have to buy the book for $30 because that's how you get the lore in World of Warcraft. I can absolutely see that happening. It would make sense. I have a generator wins. The problem is once you end the stream, that's sort of it. Starting the stream again is a fucking nightmare. Like, it doesn't even matter because I'm basically gonna have to, like, the power's gonna go out, then I start the generator, then I start the stream again. Then 2.5 hours later, I have to stop the generator, switch back to normal power, and start the stream again. So it just causes a VOD nightmare because now I have like what, 3 VODs. Because now I have like 3 VODs just for one night streaming. So I try to, you know, we've been live for about 4 hours. That's a good, decent amount of streaming for today. Tomorrow, we shouldn't have load shedding in the evening. So tomorrow's stream will be back to normal time, you know? Because we'll be the only place to get all the lore in one place. True, Bro Tomness. How you doing, bro? The music is the music. What do you want, Andy? What do you want? This is good music. What are you talking about? Don't you like it? Listen to this, chat. This is beautiful. Fucking beautiful, dude. It's trancey and shit. You don't like it? Blizzard Entertainment presents. Of course, there's the money. There's the money that you have to put in. What is this? Wait, this looks like a MOBA. And the cinematic is funny though, so that's good. Maybe it isn't a MOBA, it's probably Raid Shadow Legends. It's probably Raid Shadow Legends or some shit like that. Warcraft Arclight Rumble. Yeah, it's Raid Shadow Legends, what it is, dude. Similar to that.
I'm Justine.
And I'm Adam, and today we have the honor of introducing you to
Warcraft Arclight Rumble!
Did they say different things?
What is this game? This is a mobile strategy, fast-paced hero collector
And villain collector.
game that has a vast PvE campaign. It also has dungeons and raids and PvP and co-op and everything you'd expect of a Warcraft game from Blizzard. We love games. We were super inspired by tower defense games. Our game isn't really tower defense. It's more our style to do a tower offense game.
It's joyful chaos. And we're aiming to bring our Blizzard best to mobile games that inspire us. Chaos reigns.
All the chaos.
Can't use chaos.
Tower defense games is fun though, so maybe?
In basements of taverns all across Azeroth, a mysterious machine has been found. Is it new? Has it always been there? Powered by gnomish engineering and Arclight. This machine has been generating famous and infamous battlegrounds for your entertainment.
So when the battle begins, you'll come to the battlefield with your army, ready to go assault the boss. There's a base for you to defend. If the base dies, your run is over. Also, there's meeting stones on the map. If we control the meeting stone, we can play things closer to the boss. If the enemy controls the meeting stone, they're going to come at us a little bit closer as well. There's also towers on the map for you to go capture that lets you have a forward position so you can assault the boss directly.
There's also shinies that you can get. There's gold nodes and treasure chests to plunder. You gotta get the shiny.
Give me the shiny!
The more gold that you can get, the more chaos you can rain upon the field.
One of my favorite things about this game is that every mini has their own personality and every single one of them thinks they're the coolest.
And they're all wrong, except for Blackrock Pyromancer. In Warcraft, Arclight, Rumble, we have 5 families. The Alliance!
The Noble Alliance with a lot of defensive units and spells. There's also the Horde. The proud Horde that will overpower your enemies.
But there's also Blackrock to sear a hole in your enemy's defenses. Let's throw down!
All
There's,
right.
of course, the Undead.
Who can bring a skeleton of troops to the battlefield. And beasts. We also have a literal stampede from the plains and jungles of Azeroth.
With all of the chaos going on with the troops, we need somebody to lead this rabble. Leaders are a way to cater your strategy and build a specific playstyle that suits you. If you want to play siege units, go for Sneed.
I would play this on
Sneed has a
PC.
trait called Sneed's Greed that makes all of your siege units grab extra gold.
My personal favorite is Rend, with his ability Black in the Sky. It makes all of your flying units 1 gold cheaper, so you can fill the air with chaos.
Chaos.
There are tons of strategies that you can assemble with this. There are over 60 minis for you to play with. But you don't need to have an understanding of Warcraft to be able to embrace the chaos. A sense of exploration and wonder should come across regardless.
Speaking of wonder, let's go play a game. We're gonna do it live. I mean, it'll be edited later, but that's okay. Welcome to Jinroke's Swole Troll Isle.
This should be on PC. It could be fun on PC.
This is a fun map because I did the design for it and Justine did the art. We'd have our animators and our character artists to make all this happen. There's so many people that go into making this a reality.
The goal of the Swole Troll Patrol is to punch your base in the face.
Smash that start button, let's go. Okay. Here comes a troll, he's coming down our lane, and the first thing we're gonna do is have some harpies go say hello. There's a kobold that's already trying to steal gold over there. We're gonna let him go for that though. There's a bat rider coming, and we have a huntress. Let's play a huntress to help this out a little bit. And here comes another swole troll. Let's send out some chickens to meet that swole troll. But those trolls are definitely relentless. I'm actually gonna lose.
No!
Dude, your base is breaking. Oh my god, you're bad at this.
We don't make these maps to be easy.
I thought you said
I
you
mean-
couldn't lose. You designed this map.
Smash that start button, let's go. All right, here comes this swole troll, and we
What-
need some harpies to go take
All
care
right.
of that swole troll.
I'm pretty sure that was planned, but
There's
okay.
some chickens coming. I don't care about those chickens, but that kobold, I do. That kobold definitely needs to get out of here. Need some more gold, though. Let's go mine this area right here so that we can fuel our harpy addiction. All right, good. Have those chickens come in and peck that swole troll just like it's a snack. Oh my gosh, look at all of these units coming in here. But 1 chain lightning is all we need.
How much do you think you're gonna pay for that?
Hopefully that kobold sneaks by. Aw, there you go.
Woo!
Oh, we're in overtime. All right,
Down to the wire.
harpies, come on. Time's running out.
Too close.
All right, all right, all right. Let's do a wombo combo.
Brilliant.
No, the game is free. I'm sort of
That's just
asking
one
the
of
things
the
that you
70
do.
plus maps that we have for you to play all over Azeroth.
One of my favorite maps is going back to Stranglethorn, deep in the jungle, is Gurabashi Arena. King Mukla is there with his banunchucks and banandalier.
There's a couple of apes in Ungro that have some banana armaments. We've got the Benini gun by Ukluk. Ungro also has Devil Sword Queen, the tyrant of the area, and she comes
right.
stomping down, and you just have to take her down before she bites your base.
Tasty base. There's always going
Yeah,
to
there's
be
going to be
unique
shit tons of
challenges depending on which map.
microtransactions
When
here,
it comes
guys.
to maps that require you to be able to take charge of the high ground or combat massive cannon bombardment from a ship. There's so many ways that you can customize your minis using talents. Their abilities can be augmented in all different sorts of directions.
Maiev has a really awesome talent called Cloak of Shadows. Wherever you play her on the map, she will cast Smoke Bomb and stealth everything around her, so you can make a mobile assault squad anywhere on the map. Warcraft!
Warcraft!
Arclight!
Arclight!
Rumble! This game has so many ways to play, varied content every single day, every single week. You get to play a new dungeon every week.
We didn't talk about dungeons!
We didn't talk about dungeons. You can play dungeon solo, or if you want to play co-op, you can as well.
We didn't talk about
We
co-op!
forgot to talk about co-op. Co-op, you can join a guild, you can play with your friends.
You can join a guild and you can fight your
This
friends!
is very cringe, bro.
You can go play raids with them. There's so many things to do in this game.
We didn't talk about raids!
You're just gonna have to stay tuned for more information, aren't you?
Closed beta is coming to limited regions soon, so keep an eye on social media for more information. On behalf of the team, we are so excited for you guys to get your hands on this, and we really, really look forward to your feedback and input.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Enjoy the joy.
Enjoy the chaos. The chaos, it never ends!
All right. This is...
Chaos.
It doesn't count as a chaos counter if you just keep saying it. All right. I mean... I love how they keep showing the money that you have to put into it. Just to make sure that you know this is gonna be... This is gonna be a lot of money.
For Theramore!
I will probably try this, because it looks fine, but I think it would work very well on PC. Yeah, it looks fun. It looks like the kind of game, like... It looks like the kind of game that you play when you're taking a shit. Like, this is the kind of game you play when you're taking a shit, dude. It's not meant to be deep or earth-shattering. Can you imagine people playing this on mobile? Of course you can. And that's the point here. That is the point. I don't know why. I don't know why so many of you came into this expecting something massive. Like, why did so many people come into this thinking that this is going to be an earth-shattering, like, Warcraft experience? It's mobile. It is so limited in what it can ultimately do. And I think I love the graphics, love the fact that there's voice acting, you know, and there's sort of, it's very comical, which makes sense. I personally love tower defense games. I wish that this game would come out on PC, because I hate fucking mobile games. But yeah, I could see myself playing this. Not really hardcore, because that's not the kind of game that it is. But yeah, I don't hate it, funnily enough. I don't hate it. MMO thing, like Clash of Clans, take on Warcraft 3 type of thing. Not disappointed in this. It's more than I expected. It's way more than I expected, if I'm honest. Well, Weasel... For a mobile game, it looks pretty good. Phones with tons of power these days, they definitely could have done much better. No, but okay, so again, are we talking about are we actually talking about the graphics? That's what's bothering you guys. You realize that it is stylized literally the same way that World of Warcraft is. It's like, it looks exactly the way that they want it to look, which is very cartoony, very sort of weird and wonky and silly. It's meant to look silly. It's probably what they went for. So I don't necessarily think that... I think people are judging this game from a PC perspective, and it's not actually supposed... Like, it's a mobile fucking game. It doesn't matter what the graphics look like. Actually are good. The gameplay could be fun. Again, just presentation, but those two made me want to vomit. Yeah, I mean, it is cringe as fuck. The way they announced the game is definitely very cringe. But overall, I do not mind this. Is this going to be a game that I'm going to be playing the shit out of? No. Is this a game that I'm going to be playing for longer than an hour? No. I'm not a mobile player. I hate mobile games in general. So I will probably give this a go, and then I will not play it again. And the only time I will play it is when my power goes out, like soon. Maybe then I'll play it a bit because I have no power. What else am I supposed to do? But otherwise, this is not the kind of game that you're going to leave World of Warcraft for. This is, honestly, it's more than I expected. I thought this was going to be an RTS game, and the reason I thought this was going to be an RTS game is because RTS games provide so many avenues for monetization. Now, I can already tell you how the monetization in this game is going to work. There's going to be stages that you reach where your champion, the one that you chose, isn't high enough level, so you keep losing the stage. So it's artificially, virtually impossible to pass the stage. There you have two options. You can either pay and get new levels on your champion so that you can actually get past it, or you're just going to have to keep grinding. This is how most of the mobile tower defense games work. The first few levels is pretty easy. You get to smash them, no problem. And then they get incrementally harder until they become completely impossible to get. Unless you pay. So basically, Blizzard is just using the Candy Crush model for this game. They're going to print money with this. This game, I think, is going to be very popular in almost every region in the world. Because the graphic is stylized, which means Asia wouldn't mind the graphics. The West isn't going to mind the graphics. It's tower defense. People love tower defense games. Yeah, I think this is going to be a slam dunk for Blizzard. They're going to be printing money because of this. Isn't there another mobile game coming out too for WoW? Not the first. No, the other game that they had was apparently cancelled. Yeah, you're most likely going to pay for units. You're going to have to pay for upgrades. Like, the fact that there's champions, so the fact that you can play with someone like Jaina or with someone like Thrall probably, or Saofang or something like that, suggests to me that the number of units that you can summon, the number of gold that you can hold at any given point in time, the type of units that you can summon is all linked to the champion that you have. The champion is where the money is going to come from. That's where they're going to fucking drill you with money. Yeah, you'll be... So, if I'm just taking what I know about, like most tower defense games, the in-game money, so the gold that you physically make in-game, that is just money that you make to buy units to put on the battlefield. Not like some of the tower defense games that I've seen in the past will have, basically they'll give you multipliers that you can buy. So you can buy a 2x multiplier. This means that for the next week, all of the gold that you make in every single game is double. So rather than your little goblin just farming 1 gold at a time, he'll farm 2 gold at a time, which obviously easy way to win a level. The other one is those champion levels that you need to gain. So in order to beat some of the levels, your champion has to be, say, level 35, but your champion is only level 28. So now you either grind out the 35 levels by basically losing on the same map over and over and over and over and over again, or you pay money and bam, done. You're there. Metaquel, how you doing? Gotcha. Tower defense is what I got out of that. So here comes the loot boxes for euros. Oh my god. This is gonna, like, guys, did any of you actually expect this to not be absolutely pay to win? This is a mobile game, right? Why would you expect a mobile game to not be pay to win? Yeah, like, I don't think there's a single mobile game that isn't pay to win. It's what mobile games are. You know, they're basically licenses to print money. It's what they're supposed to be. The mobile gaming audience is too fucking stupid to know that there's a way to play games that isn't pay to win. So the bar is much lower. I don't think it is as bad as most, but there will be pay to ease elements. We'll see, right? Why do people expect them to bring out a game without them attempting to make a profit? Velisaro, it's not so much that people don't want them to make a profit. It's that people get their noses out of joint. Whenever you're not okay with making 40 or 50% profit, you want to make 5 million% profit. That's what pisses people off. It's when games are over monetized. That's what leads to people getting angry. Wow, in this mobile game, I'm not sharing any resources. Like, what are you even saying? Who said... Wait, you mean Gravity what? What point are you making? If your point is about me, then I understand your sentiment, but I don't understand in regards to what. Would have been better a simple Warcraft tower defense. Oh, right. Wait, what did Weasel say? Hold up. Let me see. What did Weasel say? All right, Weasel, to anyone that is sort of wondering about this, so to anyone that is upset about the Warcraft mobile game, first and foremost, let's talk about this. Blizzard is comprised of thousands of developers. They have their developers that work on Diablo. They have their developers that work on World of Warcraft. They have their developers that work on Overwatch. They used to have developers that worked on StarCraft. None of these teams mix. Every single one of these teams has their own producer, which means they have their own budgets. The team that is working on the Warcraft mobile game has absolutely nothing to do with World of Warcraft. It's not taking profits or any resources away from World of Warcraft. It just isn't. It's a game in and of itself. It's doing its own fucking thing. I said that I rather the resources in Blizzard being funneled to other games rather than the mobile effort. But Weasel Senpai, that's just never going to happen. Also, what you have to understand is that I would argue the majority of these developers that is working on this mobile game were hired specifically for this mobile game. So they didn't move developers away from World of Warcraft or Diablo in order to make this mobile game. Blizzard needs to bring out more games. This is their answer. Mobile games is cheaper to make, easier to make, faster to make, and it brings in a lot more money. Activision is tired of Blizzard not pulling its weight. This is Blizzard's answer. We'll stop making mobile games. So it is what it is. So there's no resources being lost here. The far more pressing thing for me is the amount of people that is sort of disappointed in the game because of the graphics or because of the style of the game. And my answer to that would be, it's a mobile game. I don't know what you expect. Why did you come into this expecting something that's going to blow your socks off? It's a mobile game. Like, it's better than I expected, because I actually expected it to be fucking completely borderline, just easy. I expected them to effectively do the least amount of work and just get the game out there. This actually looks kind of fun and quirky and weird. It's what you expect from a mobile game. So I don't understand. I feel like people have... maybe that's not even your fault. For so many of us, we associate World of Warcraft with PC games. Or Blizzard with PC games. So whenever Blizzard comes out and they announce something, there's a certain level of quality that we expect from the things that they announce. Now, in recent years, Blizzard have done much to quell a lot of those expectations. Most of us no longer expect that high of a bar. But it might be that a lot of people are looking at this and sort of expecting PC level quality when that's not what you should be expecting. Not even close. It's not really that good in the mobile market though. Simply, why wouldn't it be that good? Based on what the game is, tower defense or tower offense as they put it, I would say those graphics make sense. They want to make it quirky, they want to make it fun, they want to make it sort of whatever the fuck. So the graphics fit the style that they're going for. I'm not disappointed with this game because I didn't expect anything from it from the beginning. It just makes me laugh. What a sad day. It's obvious by now. Blizzard is turning into a purely mobile dev. D4 will probably be the last real thing they do in the PC console space, apart from WoW expansions. There is a world in which I can see Blizzard doing that. Mobile makes a lot more money. Why would you put a more effort into making PC games when less effort can net you far more money? I mean, you say it's a mobile game and Genshin Impact exists, which is also a gacha and $1 billion making machine. I expected a company like Blizz to deliver a bit of a higher standard. I guess I'm struggling to understand what you guys mean when you say higher standard. So, graphics in video games is supposed to align with the story and the atmosphere that you're going for. Would you guys agree? Like, you want your graphics to be in line with the kind of story that you want to tell. They just took a turd and put the name Warcraft on it. That is it. Why would I play Genshin Impact? No, I told you before, Weasel, I don't play bullshit like that. Like, I don't play games that look super weeby and also massive pay to win. Looks very run-of-the-mill mobile game. I don't dispute this. I don't dispute the fact that there are better mobile games out there. I don't know. In my opinion, all mobile games are super shit. If you want my true opinion, there is not a single good mobile game on the market, and if the mobile gaming industry went dead tomorrow, nothing would be lost. In my opinion, it would only be a boon to the gaming industry if the mobile gaming industry died tomorrow. Because they're all predatory, bullshit money-making machines that deliver very little in terms of customer satisfaction and a lot in terms of Bobby Kotick satisfaction. So I personally hate all of these games. But for what it is, it's fine. The graphics are heavily stylized, which is what you expect when it comes to a Blizzard game. The graphics align with what we saw on the screen. It's quirky, it's funny, it's sort of, wacky and weird. The graphics is quirky and funny and wacky and weird, so it kind of makes sense there. The voice lines are clearly meant to be sort of playful, not very serious, and the graphics align with that as well. So my point is, I don't see how this is really that big of a letdown. They're doing for children in the mobile games, so I expect them to leech of kids' parents' money. Well, that's what most mobile games do. Nowadays, without these types of mobile games, like WoW, would be already done forever because less profit for investors. Have you played Breath of the Wild? No, I have not. But Weasel, you're constantly bringing up different games to say, oh my god, look at how good these games are. Why did Blizzard do it this way? So have you seen the difference between League of Legends and Dota 2? Have you ever seen the difference between the graphics of League of Legends and the graphics of Dota 2? The reason there's a difference between the two is because they're stylized. League of Legends is a heavily stylized game. The graphics in League of Legends is meant to look that way. Why is World of Warcraft's graphics the way that it is? It's stylized to literally look that way. So to bring up a game and say, oh my god, look at Genshin Impact, that's what the game should have looked like. No, Genshin Impact looks the way that Genshin Impact should have looked like. This game doesn't have to look like... I don't... Can someone explain what their issue is with the game? Because Weasel, you keep saying, no, but I don't have a problem with the graphics. All right, so what is your problem with the game? Like, explain it to me so I can understand it. So you're bringing up Genshin for the content size. So... All right, Weasel, fuck it. Let's jump into Discord. I'm in the channel right now. I'm in the channel. I'm in the QA lobby. Come, explain this to me. What is your issue with this? I'm in Discord. You can do nothing right in some people's eyes. This is the kind of thing you give to your kid while you raid. I think that was the problem up until now. They should have branched off earlier when the franchise was at its peak. Said market and hoping to get dividends on name recognition alone. Well, that was always going to be the truth. That was always going to be the case. No matter what game Blizzard is going to come up with, Blizzard is so late to market that it's just like almost every genre is going to be heavily oversaturated because that's what mobile games are. It's just what mobile games do. They oversaturate the market with millions of... I was watching this video from an indie developer. This is one guy that's just developing games, right? And this guy effectively started to try his hand at figuring out the mobile market space. So, the iPhone market space or the App Store, as well as the Galaxy App Store. And what he found was, like, this guy made fucking thousands of dollars by literally creating copies of the same game. So he made a game where you basically just play a casino. You can't win any money. You just push the button and it rolls and you get 3 letters. And this game made thousands of dollars. And he just made copies of every single... Like, he made the game, then copied it over, changed a couple of... He had an AI system changing the graphics of every single one of these slot machines and just uploading them one after the other on the App Store, and every single one of these games would get into the top 10 the whole time. This is how this market works. You just continuously make the same kind of shit. But all right, so Weasel, you're in Discord right now. Explain to me your problem.
Hi.
How you doing, bro?
Okay, so first of all, I have to say that I love your face, and
I appreciate that.
Probably since like the first days of when you started, and I just have to say thank you because I love your passion for lore, and it fuels me, and I've watched literally hundreds of your videos, so thank you for that.
Thank you very much for the compliment. I really appreciate that. Starting off the conversation with a compliment is a good way to go. I'm waiting for you to turn this around and be like, well, fuck you, Akalon.
No, it's not about the fuck you. It's about, okay, so because you said you didn't play Breath of the Wild, so I can get the way you're thinking about how you perceive mobile game. But yeah, I would argue that mobile games have shown a new standard within a game called Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact is basically the weeb Breath of the Wild, as everybody calls it. And yes, it is, in fact, a gacha. However, it has a it's not necessarily a pay to win. You could pay to win faster. Yeah. However, it's been proven countless times that free to play can literally beat the game with 0 issues. Now, the thing is, this game has an immense content on a level that rivals Breath of the Wild, which is not a mobile game. Yeah. And in terms of content, it brings content, it brings gameplay, RPG style, it brings open world, exploration, lore, immense amounts of lore all over the place. And it feels like a AAA game. And yet, it's a mobile game, and I'm pretty sure it even won the best mobile game last year or this year or something like that. And when I see a company like Blizzard, who always like, oh, we're going to polish our games and we're going to make them so cool and blah 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 blah, and then they say, hey, you know what? We're entering the mobile arena, and then you have the big guy, Genshin Impact, which is the best mobile game on the market, and I'm like, okay, maybe we're going to get this insane lore. Maybe it's an avenue for Blizzard to expand on the lore, go on different islands that we've only heard in books, in stories, and maybe we're exploring the story over there. Something to do with the story, which is basically what drew me into Blizzard to begin with, the story. And then you see this generic tower defense that, I mean, sure, the graphics looks cute and all, and I have no problem with mobile games and their graphics. But I have a problem when a company like Blizzard puts this crap into my face and expects me to pay for it, or to even give it, you know, a second of my time.
All right.
It's insulting.
All right, so let's start with the most obvious one. If Blizzard added even a sliver of World of Warcraft lore into this game, I would fucking riot. Now, I would riot in a way that you have never seen me. I would throw a hissy fit that would make the people down at the fucking hair studio look like children. I would be fucking losing my shit. I don't want to play a mobile game to get my WoW lore. So the fact that this game exists in the Warcraft universe but doesn't have lore, good thing, as far as I'm concerned. Now, my argument to you would be, you comparing this game to Genshin Impact, or at least comparing the scope of what Blizzard could have done to Genshin Impact, would be similar to me saying, well, you know what, fuck Call of Duty, it's such a horrible game, because I can play Cyberpunk 2077. It's got a giant city that I can drive through, millions of quests and hours of playthrough, plus I have my first-person shooter stuff. Why is Call of Duty not on the level of Cyberpunk? Well, because they're not meant to be the same games. Not even close. They're meant to be very different things. Genshin Impact was designed as an RPG in the mobile space, right? Whereas this game is meant to be a tower defense game in the mobile space. And you have to sort of compare it to other tower defense games. And from what I've seen, it's fairly good. You know, it's not a horrible idea or spin on tower defense. In most other games, tower defense is literally waves and waves of enemies that you have to defeat. Whereas in this one, you kind of have to push with your soldiers through to the other side. So it kind of makes it an interesting concept. Now, I don't play mobile games, so I don't know. I literally just see people talking about these things. But I think it's pretty unique and pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting take on it. The other thing that Sorry, yeah?
No, I was just about to say that I agree with your points on lore if it was only on mobile. And the tower defense game, I have no problem with the standard. What I was saying in the terms of scope is because Genshin Impact works seamlessly both on mobile and PC. I don't play Genshin on mobile at all. Zero time on mobile. When I played Genshin, I played it strictly and only on PC. And it's doable. Obviously, they've done it. So Blizzard could have done you want to go into the tower defense game genre? Go for it. But give us the standard. The standard that the best company right now on the mobile market did, and give us that, because you're the big company, you're the big bucks, you can do these things. But
I feel like we're getting very much stuck in the weeds here, trying to compare what Blizzard is doing to Genshin Impact. Now, let's just break this down into. This is Blizzard's second real mobile game that they're diving into. The first is obviously, like, their first mobile game ever, I think, was Hearthstone, but that's a PC game that they literally just ported to mobile. Their first ever was Diablo Immortal, which is going to be that large sort of maybe trying to kind of compete with something like Genshin Impact, right? Diablo Immortal. This is their answer to something like Genshin Impact. Probably not on that same scope or size, but similar to that. This is a game that Blizzard is going, well, we don't want every single one of our games to be this giant RPG. We want to do tower defense. Tower defense, by the way, has a storied history within Warcraft, within the Warcraft universe, since those were the games that people created on Warcraft 3 way back in the day with this map editor, was tower defense games. Literally, I believe the birth of tower defense was on the Warcraft map editor, and from there, companies started doing their own thing. So I feel like trying to compare what this game is and the scope that this game is focusing on is disingenuous if you're trying to compare it to games of like in a different genre, but also to a different scope. And I would imagine that the creators of Genshin Impact are probably also a lot more sort of veteran status within the mobile industry. Genshin was probably not the first game that they ever made on the mobile. Or
Definitely not.
It's not one of their. It's like probably not even one of their firsts. This is sort of the culmination of years of work that eventually brought out Genshin. Correct?
It is. It is.
All
It
right,
is, I think the 5th, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, so Blizzard is now dipping their toe into the mobile gaming world because developing for mobile is almost guaranteed going to have a different learning curve to developing for PC or developing for console, which means, do you really want to jump into the Genshin Impact world with a game that you first and foremost have no idea whether your mobile games is going to work? You know, you're not guaranteed that any of your mobile games is going to work. So are you going to let your developers spend thousands upon thousands upon thousands of hours making the next big Genshin Impact? And maybe it fails, which means lots of money lost. Or are you going to let your developers to go smaller in scale as you ramp up your sort of mobile development statuses? Because all of these studios and teams will have to be ramped up. They'll have to catch up.
I get your point. That is a valid point. I get your point. However, let me ask you a question. If this game had story and ran on PC, still tower defense, but had, you know, a few stories cut through whatever they could think of, whatever story that they can think of, and then tie it all up around the gameplay mechanics of tower defense, and yet ran on PC, would you care for it then?
No, because you're again throwing my WoW story into a different game. Like, I don't want. I hate the fact that they have books alongside the WoW universe. I don't want the story in different senses of or types of media. I just want the story in the game, you know?
No, yeah, I mean, all of us, but at this point, is it gonna happen?
Well, remember, it can happen in the future. Blizzard can absolutely come. Their next big game that they announce is Warcraft 4 on the mobile. And that does actually push the lore forward, but it also is playable on PC. And then most of us would have that happy sort of moment. But I just feel like a lot of people are being very angry at this game. And I think it's because a lot of people had an expectation for something. And then that expectation wasn't reached because it turned out to be something else entirely. And now people are angry because their hate canon and the actual canon isn't meeting in the middle. You know, it's not, there's no meeting of minds there. Because this as a game, as far as I'm concerned, looks fine. You know, the graphic style of the game works for WoW players, I feel, because we're used to this stylized, almost over-stylized version of games. The tower defense really goes back to the Warcraft sort of era of gaming. I used to play thousands of hours of tower defense games on Warcraft 3 just because they were so fun. And it was such a new concept at the time. You know, so it's sort of where my love for tower defense started. So it's a nice idea, or it's a nice thing of just, let's get back to easier and let's see where we go from here. So I think your Genshin Impact,
right.
I think your Genshin Impact dreams are still going to be realized at some point, but I don't think it's going to be realized now, because also Blizzard needs to make games. one of the biggest problems with Blizzard Entertainment is the fact that they are a game company that haven't released a single new game since 2016. You know, that is unheard of in the gaming industry. So clearly they went, all right, we need new games. A Genshin Impact is going to take us 5, 6, 7 years to create. We don't have that time. We need a game that we can create now within the next 2-3 years and get it into players' hands, and then maybe allow for those budgets to inform what we do in the future. So where do we go to next? I would say don't judge this too harshly. And what I don't like is the fact that you fuckers are forcing me to defend mobile games. Like, what the fuck is going on here? How am I in this universe where I'm now defending a mobile game? Like, fuck.
It's somebody needs to clip that. Well, I'll tell you something. I'm not angry. I'm just simply disappointed or more.
Oh shit, that's so bad though. That's so bad.
Scared.
I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared that this is gonna be a standard. That's where my frustration comes from. I'm scared that this is gonna be the standard for mobile. What you're saying is the dream. Hey, if you're gonna tell me that in 2-3 more mobile craps like that, they're gonna give me something. It doesn't mean the genre, but at the scope of something like Genshin Impact or something like whatever game that has a big scope with a big lore, something that Blizzard has been known for and yet not provided us in like years now. Yes, you know what? I would say, you know what? I'll play that tower defense. I'll contribute to that tower defense so you can get the budget and get those games out for us in whatever years from now.
Well, they already have the Diablo Immortal that is said to be very rich in story, gameplay decisions and options and things like that. So that, like, they're clearly shooting for more, right? This is not the only game that they've announced. They have also announced Diablo Immortal, and they've been working on that for a really long time. So clearly Blizzard isn't just going, this is it, you know? This is how good it's going to be for us. They're continuously going to do more things, you know? They're continuously going to push higher and harder for more mobile games, as much as that pains me to say. I would say enjoy the game for what it is, and ultimately remember that any gaming companies are going to bring out the games that they want to play, and it's your choice whether you want to play them or not. You don't have to support this game. You don't have to support Diablo Immortal. I choose not to support any of these games. I will download it, and I will try it, and then I will uninstall it, and that will be the end of my experience with it. I will never drop a single penny on either of these games. But then again, I'm not their market, and that's fine. I would say don't be too hard on them. This is fine. For now, this is fine. And I get that you had this dream of it being the Genshin Impact of the Western gaming sphere, but the Genshin Impact was also not the first of its kind. It wasn't the first game that company made. They worked their way up as well. So let's see. Blizzard is undoubtedly going to add more developing teams to mobile. I imagine within the next 3 or 4 years, you're going to get yearly fucking announcements of games that Blizzard is bringing out. This is just right now the easiest way to grab a shit ton of money, and that's what Blizzard is doing. Yeah.
Well, thank you for giving me the satisfaction of talking about it with you. And also, you know what I do choose to support?
Sorry, you cut out there, Weasel?
You know what I do choose to support? The Fat Fuck Club. So
I really appreciate the tier 1 sub, brother. Thank you for the 14 months. Really appreciate it, Weasel. And
no problem. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure, dude. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure.
All right.
I didn't expect this, but thank you.
All right. Take care of yourself, bro.
Have a great rest of the stream.
I will. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, that was an interesting conversation. I understand the sentiment. I do. I understand exactly why that sentiment exists for a lot of people, because I do think a lot of people had high hopes for what it would have been. But sadly, that's not what we're getting right now. I am sad that I can't continue streaming. I completely lost track of what the time is right now, but it is time to go. In 10 minutes, my power will be out, so please keep me in mind as you're, doing whatever the fuck it is you do. You guys obviously gonna live your lives now and enjoy your first world experiences where you have electricity and I don't. It's, obviously real fun, I'm assuming, for most of you. So, yeah, I'm gonna raid Captain... we're gonna raid Captain Grim, because he is busy streaming. So we'll raid Captain Grim. For those of you that quickly want to go say hello, just pop in, tell him hello from Akalon's stream, and then you can go do whatever the hell it is you want to do. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. This is your fucking life. Why is it not showing up? Oh my god, come on, bro. I don't have time for this. I hate my life so much. Alright, let's quickly get Captain Grim here. Raid channel. There we go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon, your morning, your evening with me. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always. I will be back tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll play some video games. Tomorrow, we're freeing Al Amigo. End of fucking discussion. I will see all of you in the next one. So as always, be kind to each other. Be good to each other. Think about me as I'm sitting here with no fucking electricity for the next 2.5 hours. And then also fuck all of you as you sit there with all your lights on. Peace out.